Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Kuo Academy. It was still time for get out of class at the moment. Outside the corridor of the first-year school building, students came and went, taking advantage of the short break to do their own things. Xia Lin stayed outside a classroom and looked inside the classroom with a very complicated expression through the window. This classroom is not the classroom where Xia Lin is, but the scope of the senior year is so large that you will pass by if you walk around. And this class happens to be next door to Xia Lin's class, which can almost be said to be the only way to go, originally. His class was right in front of him, so there was no need to stay in the range of the next class. And the reason why Xia Lin stopped to watch, just because. In Xia Lin's line of sight is a cute girl with short silver hair. The girl with short silver hair was sitting on the seat, surrounded by the stars like the moon around her. 5 or 6 classmates were talking to her with smiling faces, facing the enthusiasm of her classmates. The silver-haired girl's cute little face did not show much expression. She sometimes responded dull, sometimes silent, and the cold expression on her face was like that of a three-nun girl, as if she was enthusiastic about the classmates around her. Indifferent in general, the attitude of the silver-haired girl would make people feel a little rude. However, at this moment, such a conversation did not arouse the dissatisfaction of the classmates. On the contrary, an answer from the silver-haired girl would cause the person who asked the question to scream and laugh, as if they had received some huge gift from the silver-haired girl, making them extremely satisfied. This shows how popular the silver-haired girl is among her classmates. Taoju Kaniko, this is the name of the silver-haired girl. Because of his cute appearance, appetite body, and the expression of Sanwu, he soon became a first-year mascot-like existence after entering school, and is one of the idol students of Kuo Academy. Xia Lin knew Taoju Kaniko. Of course, it is only a one-sided understanding. He knew Taoju Kaniko and the other party didn't know him. However, this acquaintance is not just a simple matter of knowing that Taoju Kaniko is a high school student at Kuo Academy and a school idol. This is a deeper understanding. Taoju Kaniko is not human. More precisely, not humans, if Xia Lin's memory is not wrong. Taoju Kaniko is a reincarnated devil, not only that. In addition to devil's identity, Taoju Kaniko has another identity that matches her name. Cat again, that is the cat demon. Perhaps it is precisely because of this identity that Taoju Kaniko looks like a human in appearance. But people can't help but draw Taoju Kaniko's image closer to a cat. As for why Xia Lin knows this, because he is not a native of this world but a traveler. In the original world, Taoju Kaniko was just a character in an anime. Information about Taoju Kaniko is also known from this anime. Only now, although I have long accepted the fact that I have transmigrated and reborn, I still feel a little dreamy now looking at that figure. Xia Lin sighed helplessly, feeling a little tired in her heart. In fact, at the beginning, the city where Xia Lin was reborn was not Kuwang Town, but another city. Of course, in that city, Xia Lin did not find any trace of the god devil, and always thought that this was just an ordinary world without magic like the original world, and lived like this in another city for more than 10 years. Originally, I just wanted to be a copywriter, Xia Lin lamented in her heart, because there are many things about the second dimension in the past life, and I have a better understanding of light novels and animations, even if there is no way to fully retell the details of the anime or light novels. The general direction is remembered by Xia Lin in his mind. With some general memories before high school, Xia Lin began to be a copywriter. Although he was not a big hit, he still got along well. With a huge income, there is no need to worry about money matters, however. Because of a chance, Xia Lin learned about the existence of Kuwang Town, A familiar place name in memory naturally aroused Xia Lin's interest. Because of this, Xia Lin left the city and went to Kuwang Town to enroll in Kuwang Academy. Originally, I was just curious and wanted to verify whether this Q Academy was the one I remembered. However, when the familiar characters from Devil High School appeared one after another in Xia Lin's line of sight, Xia Lin was completely confused. It made Xia Lin a little unacceptable. When she didn't know about the existence of Kuwang Town, Xia Lin fantasized about a good high school life. For example, continue to do things in front of the public copy, so that you can worry about food and clothing in the future. Another example is going to talk to a charming and mature schoolgirl about a love in the Shura field. But now it's all over all of a sudden. It changed from a daily urban romance to a bloody fight between gods and demons. Any petty munna a charming schoolgirl or a mature schoolgirl all go to the side, now life matters. The world of Devil High School is not an ordinary world. It is a world where mystery still exists. And it can even be said to be very prosperous, gods, devils, monsters, dragons. These creatures that only exist in fantasy all exist in the world of Devil High School, moreover. According to the descriptions in memory, the activities of these mythical creatures are also very frequent. Take these into consideration. Xia Lin was really worried about her own life. If according to the previous plan, if she lives peacefully and doesn't know anything about this world, Xia Lin can feel at ease, but now, he is very worried that at some point in the future, he will accidentally die from an AI skill, after all. The destructive power of these legendary creatures is really terrifying when they fight. Especially those high-level gods and demons can be called humanoid self-propelled nuclear bombs. Destroying a town of Kuwang is also an easy task for them. Xia Lin is not worried about being targeted after all. He is just an ordinary person now. And it is impossible for those gods and demons to notice him and come to trouble him. Just worry about being affected. If they are accidentally involved, get involved in the battle between theme and hang up. There is no reason to. At that times you can only blame yourself for being unlucky. Even in order to cover up the truths, the people on the side of the gods and demons will modify and erase the memories of some related parties. Even traces of existence may disappear. That's the real misery. The world of Devil High School is not safe at all, especially as the center of the storm Kuwang Town, where the plot unfolds is even more dangerous. Not to mention the super monsters like the god King Devil King that appeared after the plot began. And even the lost devil that may appear at night may kill Xia Lin. Xia Lin can be said to be extremely tangled in her heart now. Some are afraid, some are unwilling, worried that his life safety is threatened. But he is not willing to be ordinary. Although it is very dangerous in Kuwang Town, the opportunity here is also the greatest. It would be fine if he didn't know the existence of gods and demons before. But now he already knows the truth of this world. It would be really unwilling to live here. Wait for a while if there is really no way to get out of here. Xia Lin thought to herself. The power of gods and demons made him yearn. In such a world where gods and demons exist, he also wants to have a strong power to be equal to those gods and demons. Instead of facing the power beyond common sense, you can only be unable to bear it thinking of this. Xia Lin could not help clenching her fist secretly, and then prepared to leave, perhaps noticing the gaze of others. Kaniko couldn't help turning his head to look out the window, and his golden pupils just met Xia Lin's gaze, Xia Lin, peeking at others to be discovered by the other party. Kind of embarrassing, but Xia Lin didn't panic. The moment he met Kaniko, the corner of Xia Lin's mouth twitched, revealing an unnatural smile. And then he avoided his eyes with a guilty conscience, as if he was an innocent boy who was discovered by peeping. Same. Xia Lin sighed helplessly, then stopped, turned around quickly and returned to her class. After Kaniko glanced at Xia Lin, he didn't care too much and quickly retracted his gaze. This kind of thing has never been cut off since I went to school. Especially the eyes from Boy Switch are always there. It's just that Tauju Kaniko's feeling as a cat and reincarnated devil is many times sharper than that of ordinary people. Therefore, Tauju Kaniko didn't notice that Xia Lin's eyes were not love but a tangle, and regarded him as someone who came to peek at her as before. Jingle bell not long after the class bell rang, and the short break after class ended. Xia Lin sat in a bored position. Sensei on the podium gave an impassioned lecture, but his thoughts had not returned. Xia Lin was thinking about the way out in the future. In the end, should he stay in Kuwang Town, or leave this place of right and wrong? It's so hard to choose. Xia Lin rubbed his eyebrows irritably. It was easy to leave Kuwang Town. Just go through the transfer procedures. And it was not difficult for him only. If he really lives here, I am afraid that he will never have the opportunity to step into the world of gods and demons again. Because the foresight about the plot is only here in Kuwang Town. Moreover, the few devils in Kuo Academy, in Xia Lin's impression, can be regarded as mild-mannered and relatively easy to contact. If he changed to another place, I'm afraid he would lose any advantage. The presence of the host is detected. The system is starting to load, suddenly. A mechanical and icy voice sounded in Xia Lin's mind, shocking his sluggish spirit. Xia Lin twitched at the corners of her mouth, then glanced vigilantly to both sides, and after making sure that no one else was playing with him, she finally couldn't help but get excited. He took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in his heart. I didn't expect that after so many years. There is finally a system to log in. Thinking of this, Xia Lin suddenly felt speechless in her heart. It's been a long time. But suddenly the plugin finally appeared, which finally made Xia Lin feel in a trance. Of course, there is also joy and excitement. If the memory is correct and the plot has not changed, I am afraid that the plot of Devil High School will officially start soon. In fact, Xia Lin doesn't know when the plot started. But according to his observation, at this moment Hyodu Issei has not started contact with Tauju Kaniko and others, and is still lingering with a few of his friends. Before the plot begins, this time period is still loose. At least there is still some room to play. Xia Lin stared blankly ahead in his line of sight. A virtual screen-like thing appeared, with numbers constantly beating on it: 1%, 2%, 3%. This is the system loading process. Xia Lin glanced left and right, and after confirming that only she could see it, she could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. Not only is this system panel only visible to me, but I am even more glad that the sound I heard just now was not an auditory hallucination. In this world of gods and demons, it is really difficult to feel at ease without plugins. Staring at the constantly beating numbers on the screen, Xia Lin's expression was steadfast on the surface, but he was impatient in his heart. He wished that the system loading speed jumped to 100% all of a sudden. Too slow, Xia Lin sighed inwardly. But she had no choice but to wait silently during one class. Xia Lin's attention was all on the loading screen of the system, and the slowly beating number was finally adjusted from 99% to 100%. The system is loaded and starting up. The cold mechanical voice resounded in Xia Lin's mind again, but it made him feel extremely pleasant. Ding. The system has been successfully started, helping you play happily. Hearing this mechanical sound like a third-rate advertisement, Xia Lin couldn't help but twitch at the corner of her mouth. System, can you hear it? Is there a description of the auxiliary wizard or manual, etc.? Let me see, Xia Lin thought silently in her heart. Although it was said that he had heard about the system plugin thing, it was the first time Xia Lin saw what it was like. The next moment, the function of the system jumped into Xia Lin's mind, allowing him to quickly understand its function. Simply put, the system currently has only a few functions: post tasks, complete tasks, and get rewards. The content of the reward is based on the difficulty and completion of the task. After completing the task, in addition to physical rewards, you can also get certain points. Points can be exchanged for corresponding items in the system mall. Simple and straightforward. Zealin muttered in her heart, of course. The simpler the better, the easier it is to use. But complicated procedures will make Zealin feel troublesome. After browsing the system's instructions, Zealin opened her own panel. Several lines of data immediately popped up on the system panel. Host Zealin race, human level 1 star. Strength assessment, ordinary people with average physical fitness are not as good as the 5 scumbags. Abilities, no special abilities. It's really unremarkable. Looking at her own panel without any features, Zealin was hit hard. It is estimated that anyone who pulls over on the street can be compared to him. But it doesn't matter with the system. You should be able to quickly get rid of this ordinary panel. System, is there any way to quickly become stronger? It's better to transform overnight. To be comparable to that group of transcenders. Zealin asked in her heart, transcenders. This is a group of people who truly stand at the top of the world in the world of Devil High School. And each of them has a reality that surpasses Devil King. If he could have the strength of a transcendent, not to mention walking sideways in the world of Devil High School, at least he would be able to deal with various crises with ease. Even if you rely on this system, it is impossible to reach the sky in one step. Please don't be too ambitious, the system responded. And the answer was a bit ruthless, but it was also expected. I feel like I'm on the ground. Zealin felt that she had spoken very conservatively. It just said that I wanted to have the strength of a transcendence overnight. But I didn't say that I had the strength of the infinite dragon god level. Besides, if I don't aim high, what's the use of you? Zealin is righteous, the system is speechless. Hurry up, Zealin urged unceremoniously. It is detected that the host has some flaws in the mood due to changes in the environment. And the novice courage trial task is released. Task generation, ding. The task has been generated, please check it yourself. Novice courage trial quest, please confess to at least 3 heroines. Mission requirements. 1. At least 10 minutes of face-to-face confession is required. 2. No matter whether the confession is successful or not, it is counted as completing the task. Mission difficulty, AZ mission rewards. 1. Tenfold physical fitness improvement. 2. A novice random spree. 3. Draw once. Mission time limit, none. Note, this task is a novice-guided welfare task, so the rewards are more generous. The reward distribution mode is distributed according to the completion progress of the task. After reading the mission in detail from beginning to end, Zealin couldn't help but twitch. This task is really happy. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The difficulty of the novice tasks given by the system is only easy. Indeed, it's just a confession to at least 3 girls. It's not difficult at most, it's just being rejected. It's just that there is a problem with my mood. It's about confessing. Zealin was a little crazy in her heart. This is not a love system. Just looking at those rewards, it should be a combat system. Zealin also knows that there are some problems with her state recently. From high-spirited before high school, to becoming a little worried and worrying about gains and losses after entering school. The classmates around feel that they may have a girl they like. But Zealin knew very well that she was only worried about her own life because she discovered the real existence of this world. Please hurry up and complete the novice task so that you can start the follow-up tasks, get more rewards, and improve your strength as soon as possible, and have the ability to protect yourself. The system continued to remind Zealin with a cold, mechanical voice. I know, Zealin's perfunctory answer. Confession is not difficult, especially in the task requirements. It is not necessary to confess success, and it is to make the task difficulty meet the level of simple. Just 1 point in author requirement. Requires 10 minutes of formal confession. This is where Zealin has some headaches. If you don't have this requirement, just go to the other party and say, I like you. Be my girlfriend, however. Let me confess to the 3 heroines at the beginning. Is this the rhythm to get me on a good boat? Zealin silently tsukomi 3 mistresses. Before the plot begins, There are people with names and surnames, and they can be called heroines in terms of roles. Tauju Kaniko Haimjima Aquino Rias are just a few. Even if you count the student master Shitori Sona. Only 4 in total. This is the rhythm of packing as soon as you come up and letting yourself go on the road of no return. It's easy to roll over if you're not careful, fortunately. I don't know them well, so even if I confess, it's impossible to succeed. Zealin is very self-aware and has long been mentally prepared. Although he does have ideas about a few people, based on his current situation, it is estimated that he must be rejected. Whether it's Tauju Kaniko Haimjima Aquino Rias, Shitori Sanitga, they are all powerful figures in the school, with good looks and high temperament, and they have been confessed countless times. Not only boys but even girls confessed so far. No one has successfully confessed, and even if Xia Lin does, it is estimated that she will be regarded as the same as those who have confessed in the past, and will return disappointed, fortunately. Xia Lin just regarded it as a task, and didn't really want to express anything. Jingle bell, the school bell finally rang. Okay, that's it for today, get out of class is over. Sensei on the podium neatly announced the end of the get out of class, then sorted out the textbooks and left the classroom first. After Sensei left, the quiet class suddenly became noisy, and the originally depressing atmosphere suddenly became extremely lively. It's finally over, do you have any plans later? Let's go to karaoke together, add me and I'll go too. The girls chattered about what to do after school. Xia Lin, do you want to go together? A girl sent an invitation with hope in her eyes. And at the same time, the eyes of several other girls also looked over. Q Academy was originally a girls' academy, but it didn't take long for it to be a co-educational school. And the number of boys in the entire school was less than 1/5 of the total number of students. A boy with good grades and good looks like Xia Lin is a high-quality resource in this Q Academy and is very popular among girls. Sorry, after all, I just moved to Kuwang Town not long ago, and there are still some things to do at home. So I won't go this time, Xia Lin declined with a smile. Oh, what a pity, then we'll call you next time. You must come next time, hearing Xia Lin's answer. The girls couldn't help being a little disappointed, but they didn't force it. Okay, next time I'm free, I'll invite you. Xia Lin replied with a smile, then picked up the backpack, waved to the few people and turned to leave the classroom. After leaving Q Academy, Xia Lin went straight home. The chores about moving were settled long before the start of the new semester. Of course, dealing with family matters was an excuse. After all, the situation was different now, and Xia Lin didn't want to waste time on fun for the time being. Moreover, since moving to Kuwang Town, Xia Lin rarely goes out at night, because this town is the starting point of the plot. The center of the storm. There are a lot of gods and demons, especially these guys like Devil, Fallen Angel. Many of them are nocturnal creatures, and they are more active at night, because they can hide people's eyes and ears without attracting much attention. Although it was said that there were devils who obeyed the order like Rias, there were also devils who had a nature to kill, especially the lost devils. Don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of what happens. If the bad luck happens, it will be really miserable. I don't think so much. Let's think about how to confess tomorrow. As soon as he got home, Xia Lin lay on the bed for a while, and then began to think about tomorrow. When she was idle and bored, Xia Lin turned on her mobile phone and searched the internet to find some confession routines. But after browsing for a while, Xia Lin put down the phone wearily. Flowers, candle, fireworks, sing if you love her, just take the medicine. What's the matter? He didn't want to make it known to everyone. It was better to be able to do it secretly, after all. He needs to confess to 3 people in a short period of time. If he messes up, will his reputation in the school be lost? He didn't want to delay a novice task for too long, and it was best to finish it completely within 3 days. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The next day, Xia Lin went to school sluggishly. He didn't sleep well all night. He spent most of the night preparing for tasks last night, so that he only squinted for a while when it was almost dawn. However, Zealin didn't fall asleep until dawn. When it was almost time, he immediately got up and washed up. After breakfast, he came to Kuo Academy. It was still early, and the main force had not yet arrived at the school. The school was sparsely populated and seemed a little quiet. Coming to the locker of the first grade, Xia Lin changed her shoes, and then came to the locker with the name Taoju Kaniko written on it. Since it is only a shoe storage cabinet, it is not locked. Xia Lin took a deep breath and opened it with some guilt. But after seeing what was inside, she couldn't help but twitch at the corner of her mouth. In the small cabinet, in addition to a pair of white shoes, there are 7 or 8 letters lying. Needless to say, it was definitely a love letter. The color of the angry envelope can be seen. I'm here so early, Xia Lin has the urge to want Tsukomi. And there are not many people in the school building. Especially in the locker is the only one now. And there are 7 or 8 love letters lying in the locker. Which means that at least he has been there are so many boys coming to school. Sure enough, it's not very reliable to ask people by letter. No doubt after a while, the number of such love letters will increase and even fill the entire shoe cabinet. However, sadly, it is very likely that they will be thrown into the garbage without the qualifications to be dismantled. Xia Lin twitched the corners of her mouth and closed the cabinet. With the passage of time, the number of students who came to the school gradually increased. The deserted school building also became lively, and the sparse figures became more and more. Xia Lin saw the figure of Taoju Kaniko. The petite figure was accompanied by Rias and Aquino. And after the first-year school building, Taoju Kaniko separated from the two, just die. Xia Lin's heart swayed, and she looked like she was going to give up. In fact, she was still a little beaten in her heart, after all. The purpose of this confession task was a bit impure. Tasheng, classmate, please wait a moment. While Taoju Kaniko was alone, Xia Lin calmly chased after her and stopped her. What's matter? After hearing the voice, Taoju Kaniko paused for a while, then turned and raised his head to look at Xia Lin, with a cold expression on his delicate little face, and there was no fluctuation in his golden pupils, as if he was 1,000 miles away. Do you have time at noon, classmate Tasheng? I have something to tell you, Xia Lin asked, without the slightest sloppiness, directly explaining the purpose. Hearing this, Taoju Kaniko was about to speak, but after Xia Lin finished speaking, he immediately continued with the next sentence. It won't waste your time too much. Meeting Xia Lin's gaze, Taoju Kaniko was silent for a second, then swallowed his refusal. Okay, I get it. Taoju Kaniko sighed imperceptibly. The expression on her face remained the same, but she nodded in agreement. Is there anything else? After agreeing, Taoju Kaniko asked, Thank you, see you on the rooftop after class at noon. Perceiving that Taoju Kaniko's mood might be a little bad, Xia Lin was sensible and ready to leave. Well then, I say goodbye. Taoju Kaniko's tone was polite and distant, then turned to leave, looking at the petite back. Xia Lin shrugged indifferently. Although she seemed to be asking just now, she was suspected of pushing the palace, which naturally made the other party a little unhappy. However, the goal has been achieved anyway, and he doesn't really want Taoju Kaniko as his girlfriend. After getting Taoju Kaniko's answer, Xia Lin was in a good mood, and even the tiredness of staying up late was reduced a lot. Seeing that it was getting late, he also stepped on the bell and returned to the classroom. The morning time passed quickly, and the bell rang for the end of get out of class. Minister Rias, I might be late today. Taoju Kaniko took out his phone and sent a text message. Normally during the lunch break, she would go to the old school building as soon as possible to spend with Rias and others. Got it soon, the opposite side replied, and did not make too many inquiries. After sending the text message, Taoju Kaniko put away his phone, stood up from his seat, left the classroom, and walked towards the rooftop on the top floor. Along the way, Taoju Kaniko's expression was cold and indifferent. She had probably guessed what Xia Lin wanted to say to her, and prepared her own words after a while. Taoju Kaniko walked up the stairs to the rooftop on the top floor. It's lunch break now. Although the rooftop has a special status in anime, it's not really a suitable place to rest. Except for some special groups. Not many people would choose to eat on the rooftop during their lunch break. After Taoju Kaniko came to the rooftop, a figure was waiting here early. Of course it was Xia Lin. In order to prevent some unexpected accidents, Xia Lin skipped class to occupy the land in advance, so as to save time to be interrupted or discovered. After seeing Taoju Kaniko coming, Xia Lin said hello first, and Taoju Kaniko nodded indifferently. If you have something, just say it. Taoju Kaniko raised his eyes and stared at Xia Lin with golden pupils. Although his tone did not fluctuate, Xia Lin could hear a hint of urging in this gentle tone. Tasheng classmates very tired to walk to the rooftop. Let's sit down first. Xia Lin is in no hurry. He was here to delay the time. What if he is rejected all of a sudden and the person leaves? Second chances can be tricky. Mission begins. The countdown begins. 10:00 when Taoju Kaniko came. The countdown words appeared in Xia Lin's eyes. The numbers kept jumping and he smiled silently. Hearing this, the corners of Taoju Kaniko's mouth twitched indiscernibly. Xia Lin's tone was neither alienating nor close, just like a common courtesy which made her want to refuse. But it was difficult to refuse it, a confession. Am I guessing wrong? The thought came to Taoju Kaniko's mind. Since she entered high school, she has encountered a lot of such situations and was invited by many boys. So she naturally classified Xia Lin as a boy who wanted to confess to her. However, Xia Lin's attitude made her suspicious. No, I'm not very tired. Taoju Kaniko shook his head and refused. She is devil and a cat demon known for her physique. Even if she climbs back and forth, she will not be tired. Taoju Kaniko looked at Xia Lin. I have to go to the club later. The members of the club are still waiting for me. I don't have a lot of time. If you have anything, just tell me quickly. Paranormal Research Society. Xia Lin naturally knew what Taoju Kaniko was referring to as a club. It was the club established by Rias and the others. One of the gathering places of the devil in Q Academy. Tasheng classmate, do you have a boyfriend now? Xia Lin spoke very directly, hearing this question. Taoju Kaniko's pupils trembled slightly, and he felt a little tired at the same time. Sure enough, there was no mistake, no. Taoju Kaniko answered truthfully, anyone you like. Of course not. Of course Xia Lin knew the answer. But she was just looking for a topic to drag the time. No. Taoju Kaniko's answer is still 2 words, that's great. Xia Lin seemed to be relieved, then turned her head and looked at Taoju Kaniko expectantly. Then what do you think of me? Sorry, I have no intention of falling in love. Taoju Kaniko's voice was very flat, and she rejected it simply and directly. But it also made people think that she was not lying. And there was no fluctuation in her golden pupils, as if she was used to this kind of situation. It is as expected. As expected, Xia Lin feigned disappointment and sighed. With that said, he raised his eyes and glanced at the time countdown, 7:15. Less than a third of the time has passed. But it looks like the other party is ready to leave. Tasheng classmates have been very popular since the beginning of school. But I haven't heard of any scandals about you until now. There must be some special reasons. Who was not good at such topics in the first place? Began to talk nonsense. Taoju Kaniko said no special reason. You can't talk about it. I'm not good at this kind of topic in the first place. Xia Lin felt a bit of a headache, and he was going to implement shameless methods. If there is nothing else, I will leave first. Taoju Kaniko pressed his hands lightly on the ground. Ready to stand up, there are still some things to say. Please be sure to listen to me, actually. I already knew that Tasheng classmates couldn't agree to my confession. But I still mustered up the courage to confess to you today. I just didn't want to leave any regrets, seeing this. Xia Lin pulled out a pale smile at the corner of her mouth. as if she was laughing at what she did just now, which made people feel distressed. Full marks for acting. After traveling for so long, Xia Lin feels that she has only made great progress in her acting skills. After Allah's a traveler, she needs to play a new identity all the time, so as not to let people discover the fact of being reborn through travel. Xia Lin feels that if she can't get into a famous university in the future, she can apply for the drama academy, and it's not a problem to dominate the showbiz at all. Sure enough, hearing the words, Taoju Kaniko paused for a moment. After seeing Xia Lin's insistent and pleading look, she reluctantly continued to sit down. She looked at Xia Lin and motioned him to finish quickly. I noticed you when I first entered school at that time. You were just a cute classmate in my eyes. And I didn't have much feelings, but I don't know why. But you always attracted my attention, I don't know. Without realizing it, I'll set my eyes on you. I know you like to sit on the lawn behind the playground for lunch. And I know Xia Lin's eyes did not look at Taoju Kaniko. But towards the front, he spoke softly and emotionally, as if his true affection remained unchanged. As for those love stories back, he didn't sleep well last night because he recited so many love stories. Thousands of words, it took a whole night. And my head almost exploded. As for why. Naturally, just in case, for example, this is the case now. Xia Lin talked eloquently, telling the qualitative change of his emotions towards Taoju Kaniko. The advantages and beauty of Taoju Kaniko observed during this period, and rendering a very sad atmosphere. Taoju Kaniko tried to interrupt several times, but he couldn't find a chance at first. Taoju Kaniko didn't care. There was a trace of impatience in her indifferent golden pupils. But as Xia Lin spoke, the indifference in her eyes gradually diminished, and the tip of her ears also unknowingly stained with a tinge of blush. There was a hint of sternness and alienation in the originally indifferent demeanor. But now it became a little softer. Sorry. I accidentally said so much, but I don't regret it. At least Tasheng classmates know my heart. Seeing that the countdown in front of him finally came to 0, Xia Lin's eloquent confession came to an abrupt end. He smiled apologetically and then said, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to tell you my thoughts. But I didn't expect that all of a sudden. After so much delay, Tasheng students should be in a hurry. Very thirsty, Xia Lin only had this idea at the moment. Okay. Taoju Kaniko nodded, a little impersonal. But there seemed to be a different kind of emotion in his voice. I'm not as good as you say. If you find out my true colors in the future, you will definitely feel disappointed. Taoju Kaniko murmured to herself, thinking of her dark past. And her mood suddenly dropped a little. Then she trembled in her heart and was surprised, not understanding why she suddenly said these words. Yes. Xia Lin smiled, but no matter what, I think you are what I see in my eyes. I believe in my own judgment and I believe in you. She looked at Xia Lin, then stood up and walked towards the door with a blank face. But after opening the rooftop doors, she suddenly turned around and said hesitantly, I will consider your proposal. After leaving this sentence, Taoju Kaniko left the rooftop. Xia Lin was stunned. Consider what? Are you going to accept my confession? Should be unlikely. Besides, what else? Forget it, I don't want this. Xia Lin patted her cheek to throw the boredom out of her mind. Ding, the task time limit has been completed. And the task progress is 1/3 completed. The rewards are being distributed, please check. Get a physical fitness enhancement card. Watching the back of Taoju Kaniko disappearing on the rooftop, a pleasant reminder sounded in his mind. Xia Lin couldn't help showing a happy smile. And he couldn't wait to check the reward. Item: physical fitness enhancement card, 10 times. Grade D, great effect after use. Physical fitness can be improved in all directions, including physical strength, speed, sporadic. Will be greatly improved. Do you use props? The system beep sounds, save it first and use it later. Although he was eager to try the power-up card, Xia Lin restrained his urge and planned to wait until the novice task was completely completed before using it. After receiving the reward, Xia Lin was in a very happy mood. With a smile on his face unconsciously, he left from the rooftop while it was still early. Xia Lin finished her lunch in twos and threes, and then took out a love letter from the drawer. It was for Taoju Kaniko in the morning, fortunately. There was no signature in it, so Xia Lin modified it, then put it in her arms and headed to the third-grade school building. Hajime Aquino and Rias are in the same class, right? And it's the kind that is often inseparable. So it's best not to be discovered by the two of them. Xia Lin came out of the class of the two with a trace of unease. At this moment, two of them were not in the class. They should be at the Supernatural Research Club in the old school building. You are in the first grade. Why did you come to our third grade? Is there something wrong? The uniforms of each grade at Kuo Academy are different. So Xia Lin was noticed very quickly. Xia Lin raised her eyes. She was a senior. Doesn't look as good as him, Xia Lin asked. Is there something? He's the senior from this class, okay. The principal nodded. That's right. Please give this letter to Hajime Aquino-senpai. Xia Lin simply handed the letter to the senior. Then took out his wallet from his pocket, took out a 1,000 yuan coin from it, and handed it to the senior together. Please make sure to ask Hajime Aquino-senpai to go to the rooftop after school. I have something to say to her. If you help me, I will give you 10,000 yuan as a thank you. Xia Lin's method is simple and crude at first. The senior was still a little impatient. But when the paper money was handed to him, the impatience of it's for Hajime Aquino again turned into a look of flattery. 10,000 yuan is a lot of money for a high school student. Don't worry, wrap it on me. The senior patted his chest and assured that he was bound to win 10,000 yuan after doing these things. Xia Lin turned around and left, waiting for the afternoon school. After the bell rang in the afternoons, Xia Lin was still waiting early on the rooftop, thinking carefully that if the senior didn't get it done, he would go find a sack to cover him after school. It didn't take long for a beautiful figure to come. It was Hajime Aquino. Xia Lin took a deep breath. After the first experience, felt much smoother. But he just followed the noon steps again. Ara. I didn't expect me to be such a beautiful person in the eyes of my junior. I didn't even realize it myself. Hajime Aquino supported her face with one hand and listened with interest. Her eyes were curved with a charming and seductive smile. There was also a hint of playfulness hidden in it. Her eyes fell on Xia Lin's on the body and then said, I take back the answer just now. Let's meet for a while and see. I know that someone like me is definitely not worthy of senior sister. But the love in my heart has no way. Xia Lin was still talking but halfway through. He suddenly paused and swallowed, and asked with a little doubt, Sister, what did you just say? Ara, didn't you hear me just now? Hajime Aquino smiled even more, making Xia Lin feel uncomfortable. He smiled awkwardly and replied just, I think I may have heard it wrong. You heard that right, I promised you to be with you. Hajime Aquino smiled like a flower, as if he had found something interesting, and a little light flickered in his eyes. Xia Lin felt speechless for a moment. Not only did he not feel happy, but he felt a little pressure. This is it, licking a dog has everything. But I don't want a girlfriend at all. I just want to brush tasks and get rewards. System, what should I do in this situation? The sudden change in Hajime Aquino's attitude made Xia Lin feel the urge to vomit blood. Not within the service scope of the system. Please solve it yourself. The cold voice of the system sounded and gave a ruthless answer. Heavy have, Xia Lin sneered in her heart. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Am I doing everything I need to lick dogs? Or is the protagonist's halo exploded? Why did you suddenly agree? Who I am, where am I, what do I do? Xia Lin's mind was a little confused, looking at Hajime Aquino with a girly sly smile across from him. Xia Lin fell into silence. He felt like he had fallen into a pit. Apprentice, apprentice, Hajime Aquino called softly. She tapped her lips with her finger, with the charming style of Yuji, as if she was thinking about something, and then said with a smile, since we have already started dating. It seems to be called junior brother. I'm a little distant. I'll just call you Xia Lin. That's how you look close. What do you think, Xia Lin? Haimjima Aquino's voice was languid yet attractive, pulling Xia Lin's mind back from the systematic communication. Oh, what? Xia Lin came back to her senses and answered blankly. After I say it, I'll call you Xia Lin, so that we can appear to be closer. Haimjima Aquino repeated it with a slightly heavier tone. No problem, listen to senior sister. Xia Lin nodded in recognition. Do you still call me senior? Could it be that Xia Lin has no intention of dating me? And those words just said were just to perfunctory me. Haimjima Aquino still had a smile in her eyes, and she stared straight at Xia Lin with a pair of beautiful eyes, with a strong sense of oppression that belonged to Sister Royal. How could it be the words just now were all from my heart? But because I was too surprised, I didn't know how to face the senior sister for a while. Xia Lin laughed dryly and replied quickly. Do I have to tell you that I only said it to clear the mission? He didn't want to be beaten to death. It turns out to be like this. But Xia Lin will have to adjust his mentality in the future. After all, we will be in a relationship in the future. Haimjima Aquino replied with a smile. Well, I see, senpai. Xia Lin laughed dryly. He always felt that Haimjima Aquino was not sincere, just like him. Call me Aquino. Haimjima Aquino's eyes were smiling like a crescent moon. Aquino, Xia Lin said simply, hearing this. Haimjima Aquino's smile became even brighter, and a slyness flashed in her eyes. It's getting late. There are still activities in the club, Xia Lin. Let's go here for the time being today. I'm going to the club first. Haimjima Aquino let out a soft cry and smiled apologetically at Xia Lin. Okay, learn Aquino, go to the club first. Xia Lin nodded. The task has been completed anyway, and it is still overcompleted. You can go. Let me calm down for a while. Xia Lin is really kind and considerate. It's really easy to have such a partner. Don't blame me, Xia Lin, after all. I have made an appointment with the minister and the others before. I will find time to accompany you in the future. Make up for today's time, Haimjima Aquino smiled lightly. Her every move was like a royal sister, as if she was comforting Xia Lin, making Xia Lin quite speechless. There is always a feeling like good. My sister invites you to eat candy. Then I'll go first, see you tomorrow. Haimjima Aquino said goodbye, then left first, leaving Xia Lin alone. Ding. The task time limit has been completed, and the task progress is 2/3 completed. The rewards are being distributed, please check. Looking back, Xia Lin focused on the system again. Get a random novice gift pack, please check it. Whether to open the novice random gift package. System asks, open it, I also want to see what's inside. Xia Lin nodded slightly with a little anticipation. If there is some kind of heaven-defying sacred gear, it must be a bit of a dream, right? Although he knew it was a bit impractical. Ding. Open the novice random gift pack with Xia Lin's agreement. A series of prompts sounded in his mind, reminding him that the new reward had arrived. Get 100 points. Get the basic physical skills mastery card. Get the basic swordsmanship mastery card. Get a skill card intuition. Obtain the skill card, draw the knife and cut. Looking at the 3 items, although they were not particularly precious, they did not disappoint Xia Lin. Items basic taijutsu mastery card grade E. Effect after use. You can master the most basic physical techniques. Item basic swordsmanship proficiency card grade E. Effect after use. You can master the most basic sword techniques. Items sword and slash skill card grade E. Effect, use a sword-like weapon to deliver a sharp slash at the moment when it is unsheathed. Item intuitive skill card grade D. Effect, after using it, you will gain extraordinary intuition and be able to make the most appropriate judgments in battle. The explanation of the first 2 items is very simple. Xia Lin can understand it at a glance. Will it be used with the tenfold enhancement card? Xia Lin pondered. Whether it is proficiency in basic physique, proficiency in basic swordsmanship or slashing, All of them are very suitable for the first reward. And with a strengthened physique, it can undoubtedly exert a stronger power. And the last skill card, Intuition. This should be the highest reward this time. Not only the grade D but also the source, Intuitive. If I remember correctly, it is an inherent skill of King Arthur. I don't know if it is. Xia Lin touched her chin and used her intuition to make the most effective judgments. This skill provided too much help in battle. I really want to try it out quickly to see how powerful it is. Xia Lin was desperate but suppressed the urgency, and did not use it hastily, after all. He was still on a mission and suddenly became stronger. It would be bad if something went wrong. Besides, these rewards can be used at any time. Very worried about old school building, Hajime Aquino walked to the classroom of the Supernatural Research Club with light steps. And recalling what happened just now, her mouth couldn't help but have a happy smile. Pushing aside the Paranormal Research Club, Hajime Aquino walked in addition to Rias. Taoju Kaniko and Kiba Yuyuto were also waiting here. Rare Aquino, you're so late. After seeing Hajime Aquino coming, Rias, who was sitting at the desk, said with a smile. She didn't mean to blame, she just felt a little curious. Because of some delays, it's late. Hajime Aquino answered truthfully. It looks like a good thing. Rias noticed that the smile on Hajime Aquino's face was different from the standard smile. A pleasant one. It's really a good thing I was confessed by a junior. Whether it is Rias or Kiba Yuyuto, Taoju Kaniko, and others. It is not surprising to hear this sentence. Given the popularity of Hajime Aquino in Kyo Academy, it is not surprising to be confessed in the younger years. I am afraid there is no way to escape her charm. Ria stroked her forehead side and said, You didn't hit him hard, right, if you let him down. Kyo Academy will have another problem student. As a childhood sweetheart, Rias knows Hajime Aquino's character very well. Although Hajime Aquino is a warm big sister in Kyo Academy, the real situation is different. Hajime Aquino's inner character is far from bad many. On the contrary, I promise, with a bright smile. Hajime Aquino gave an answer that surprised the three of them. What? Sure enough, as soon as the words came out, all three looked at Hajime Aquino in surprise. Taoju Kaniko opened his mouth slightly, looked at Hajime Aquino in surprise, and even forgot to eat the snack he put in his mouth. She knows very well that in the past 2 years, Hajime Aquino has always refused to confess to her confession. Why did she suddenly announce her relationship today? Aquino-senpai, have you really agreed to date that boy? Taoju Kaniko's pale golden pupils revealed surprise, and the expression on his face completely destroyed the three no's. Congratulations, Aquino-senpai. Kiba Yuyuto said congratulations with a warm smile, and then stood quietly like a knight. He wasn't very interested in the topic between girls, and he didn't want to interject. Ara, are you surprised? Guys, Hajime Aquino smiled lightly, however. I didn't lie to you, I did agree. Because it seemed very interesting, Rias replied, you, who originally said you would marry me, suddenly announced your relationship, which is of course a bit surprising, because the object this time seems to be very interesting. So I agreed on impulse, Hajime Aquino explained. Aquino-senpai finds a very interesting student. Can you introduce us to us? Taoju Kaniko asked curiously. Very curious about the person Hajime Aquino spoke of. I'm afraid it won't work for now. I still want to have a good time. If there is a suitable opportunity in the future, maybe I will bring it to let you know. Did you say play? Is there, Minister? Aquino blinked playfully. I always think that the junior you are dating will be unlucky. In short, don't go too far, Rias sighed. Sure enough, she grew up together. She could quickly see some tricky things in Hajime Aquino's demeanor, and smelled a sense of fear that the world would not be chaotic. Don't worry, I'm measured. Hajime Aquino recalled the figure of Xia Lin in her mind, and always felt that Xia Lin had some secrets. As a superior fallen angel and devil, she always had a special sensitivity to this kind of thing. In particular, although Xia Lin's acting skills were excellent at that time, Haimjima Eknoho was a human being. Always felt a little strange. So he agreed with a playful attitude. You can decide for yourself, hearing this. Rias nodded and put this matter aside for the time being. She stood up from her seat, clapped her hands and said, Okay everyone, it's been delayed for so long. Let's start today's club activities quickly. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Help me give it to Rias senpai as before. Xia Lin handed the remuneration and the letter to the senior. And the senior's ability to do things is still worthy of trust. Dude, you must have failed, but don't be discouraged. There are so many high-quality girls in Kuwang Academy. As handsome as you. There is no need to hang them on those 2 trees, don't worry. As long as you work hard, you will always be able to find girls. Friends, seeing Xia Lin's actions. The senior glanced at Xia Lin with pity, and naturally classified Xia Lin as the one who was rejected. After all, he was not surprised by this situation and comforted him by the way. One sentence from Xia Lin gave him a strange look. Her lips moved, and in the end she didn't tell him what Haimjima Aquino had promised. Being so handsome already made the senior feel inferior. If he told him that Haimjima Aquino promised to date again, would it hurt him? Senior has worked hard for so long. Do you have a girlfriend? Xia Lin spoke and struck mercilessly. The senior felt a little pain in his chest and he said, The 3rd year of high school is so heavy. I just want to study hard, oh single dog. The corner of Xia Lin's mouth showed a contemptuous smile, which made the senior hurt seeing this. Xia Lin nodded in satisfaction, turned away like a proud victor, and returned to the first-year school building, leaving behind the battered and grayish-white senior. Lunch break. The senior's efficiency did not disappoint Xia Lin, and Rias walked gracefully in front of him. This is the first time that Xia Lin has observed Rias up close. She has a figure comparable to Haimjima Aquino. The bright red color is like a flame of coarse heart. However, soon this touch of heart quietly disappeared. Xia Lin is very clear, I just crave her body. As for feelings, seeing the color does not count. After having 2 experiences, Xia Lin was already familiar with the road this time, and quickly entered the States. And Rias also showed the cultivation of aristocrats, quietly listening to Xia Lin's remarks, even if it was interrupted for a few moments. Sentences, but also with self-cultivation and courtesy. Thank you for your wrong love for me, but I'm sorry. I can't promise you. With a polite smile, Rias rejected Xia Lin indifferently. I caused trouble to Rias senpai. Xia Lin also apologized politely. After being rejected, she didn't bother or ask too much. This straightforward attitude made Rias take a high look, and her favorability increased a bit. Xia Lin looked at the time on the countdown, which was gradually approaching. Zeron felt relieved. He and Rias politely said a few more words, and spent the last bit of time to completely complete the novice task. Then I won't disturb senior sister. Xia Lin took the lead to say goodbye and turned to leave. After Xia Lin left, Rias didn't stop. She left and went to the old school building. Ding. Congratulations to the host. The novice courage test task has been completed, and the final reward will be issued. Please check. Get a chance to draw a lottery once. Whether to consume this lottery opportunity and carry out the lottery. The system's icy beep sounded again. Let's draw a lottery. After all the tasks were completed, Xia Lin no longer had any worries and started to use the rewards. Before the words fell, a roulette wheel appeared in front of Xia Lin's eyes. Just like the lottery in the ordinary world, there are a lot of things depicted on the roulette. Xia Lin just glanced at it, and his eyes suddenly straightened. The things above made him greedy, reincarnation eye. Deviant sword simulated star creation, chart origin of God. Longinus. The high-level items made Xia Lin dazzled and heartbroken at the same time. These items are much better than the novice rewards. If he can get one at randoms, he can completely improve his strength by several grades and become a powerhouse. Ranks. Xia Lin's heart is itching, wishing that all the things on it would be in his pocket. Will you consume a lottery chance? Start. Zealin calmed down and responded. The huge roulette turned quickly, and the pattern on the roulette suddenly turned into a dazzling line, and it was impossible to judge which grid the roulette would stop on. Stop. After watching the roulette spin for almost a minute, Zealin finally made up her mind and shouted the word stop. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the dead eye. Undoubtedly compared to the deviating sword, Longinus and the like, the eye of straight death is a lot inferior. It's more than enough to be better than the other. It would be a lie to say that she was not disappointed. But it wasn't enough to hit Xia Lin. Contentment is always happy and there is a system nearby. And there is still a chance to draw in the future. Xia Lin began to check the properties of the evil eye of straight death. Props straight death eye system adaptation light. Grade C effect can see the death of things and receive the intangible concept of death in a visual form. Source model Moon World. What's up with this system adapting to the light version? Xia Lin asked, and there was an extra line behind the devil's eye, which naturally made him a little curious. The eye of immediate death comes from the world of Xingyu. Compared with other items, it has certain special features, and there will be great restrictions on its use. After adaptation and streamlining, these restrictions and side effects will be eliminated. The system responded, so it is. Xia Lin is satisfied with this answer, of course. This kind of prop is that the fewer side effects and restrictions, the better. I vaguely remember that the magic eye of immediate death has certain limitations in its use. It seems that it needs to understand the concept of death, as well as help from the root cause. And it is easy to burn the brain when using it. This brain burn probably really burns the brain, just like the computer overloading will burn the CPU. With fewer restrictions and side effects, the eye of death is easy to use. Use the eye of straight death. Xia Lin thought lightly and used the props. The next moment, Xia Lin felt a strange feeling in his eyes. He closed his eyes and found a special connection. Xia Lin opened her eyes, and her dark pupils instantly turned icy blue. At the same time, the world has changed. The previously intact world now has a dense number of terrifying cracks. Are these dead lines? Xia Lin knew that those things that seemed to be cracks were the so-called dead lines that were seen through the devil's eye. As long as these dead lines are gently cut, the object will die. Xia Lin squatted down and gently stroked the black and red lines on the floor tiles. He was very careful and used very light force, worried that he would accidentally disconnect the dead line. Xia Lin let out a sigh of relief, closed the eye of immortality, and returned to the original dark pupil. And the scene in his eyes returned to the original, next. The corner of Xia Lin's mouth twitched into a smile. Except for the lottery rewards. He had saved a lot of novice rewards and it was useless. Use the physical fitness enhancement card. Use the basic body technique mastery card. Use the basic swordsmanship mastery card. Use the intuitive skill card. Use the drawing sword skill card. Xia Lin used all the props she had saved in one go, so cool. This kind of feeling of using up all the things in one breath is really refreshing. Just as refreshing as eating melon seeds and eating all the seeds. A series of beeps sounded accompanied by physical changes. In an instant, Xia Lin felt a warm current rushing across his body, as if being swept by the spring breeze. The comfortable feeling fascinated him, and at the same time Xia Lin felt that his limbs were full of strength. Reinforcement. Xia Lin couldn't help clenching his fists. He felt that his current strength was really wonderful. Like the senior from before, he could punch one at a time. Xia Lin felt an unprecedented ease in his body. He bent his body, slightly exerted strength under his feet, and then jumped up, suddenly jumping to a distance of 3 meters above the ground. Xia Lin is very satisfied with his current physical fitness. He just tested it a little and didn't use all his strength. But that kind of jumping power is far beyond the level of ordinary people. He waved his hand whether it was basic physical skills, basic sword skills or swordsmanship. all of which were already in his hands, a wonderful feeling. Although Xia Lin used to learn kendo in order to pretend to be compulsive before. But it was basically a sleight of hand. Without any practicality, but now. He can feel his body's familiarity with taijutsu and swordsmanship. As if he has mastered it for a long time. And he can completely grasp it at his fingertips. In terms of physical skills, it doesn't matter. In terms of swordsmanship, you have the skill of drawing a knife and slashing. It seems that you should get another weapon. After the excitement calmed down, Xia Lin began to think. There is no doubt that the strongest attack method in his hand is to draw a knife and slash. Even if he has not personally tested it. He knows that this judgment is not wrong. Since it is a slash with a sword, it is natural to need a handy weapon. It can be purchased from the mall for a certain amount of points. The system gave a prompt. Check out the card mall and show me what's in it. A list of goods suddenly appeared in Xia Lin's eyes. After systematic screening, Xia Lin's eyes were naturally all commodities such as famous swords and swords. So there was no need to search for them, it's too expensive. However, after seeing the prices of those weapons in the list, Xia Lin couldn't help Tsukomi. Those weapons cost thousands of points. The shivering 100 points in his hand are not enough to see. Not even a fraction of those high-level weapons, in the end. Xia Lin sorted the prices in order from low to high. And focused on the top weapon item, refined katana sword. Grade F comments, this is a very sharp samurai sword. Do not cut your hands, price 50 points. Forget it, let's make do with it first. Xia Lin had no choice but to spend 50 points to buy a refined samurai sword. It looks pretty good, Xia Lin took out the samurai sword. It was in the style of a Japanese sword. The clean blade was as bright and smooth as a mirror, reflecting Xia Lin's figure. The blade also looks very tough and sharp, and the thin edge flashes with a cold light, as if it had been forged through 1,000 trials and tribulations. Even if he doesn't know much about swords, Xia Lin can make a judgment without hesitation. Compared with the swords sold in the real world, this samurai sword can definitely be regarded as the best of the best. Sure enough, the system produced must be a fine product. Xia Lin chuckled. Even the cheapest katana sword is the most perfect among the cheap. After waving the katana twice with satisfaction, Xia Lin put it into the system space and then left. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. System, what's the next task? After returning from the rooftop sitting in the classroom, Xia Lin stared intently at the blackboard. Sensei on the podium was talking eloquently, but his mind began to focus on system tasks again. The novice task gave Xia Lin a taste of the sweetness. After completing the task, it is really cool to use the reward to gain power beyond ordinary people. And Xia Lin can't wait to perform new tasks. Wait, a new task for the host is being generated. The system answers in no time, there are results. Mission release, the trial of strength. Mission content, defeat at least 3 lower-level gods and demons. Mission difficulty, normal. Mission reward, open the primary magic power source. The basic magic training manual, draw a lottery once. And each lower-level god and demon will be rewarded with 100 points. Looking at the new tasks generated by the system and the series of rewards, a satisfied smile appeared on Xia Lin's mouth. The rewards are quite generous. But you have just gained power, so you need to practice. The fight between gods and demons is very different from the fight between students. One is just a pain in the flesh, while the other may have life-threatening worries. However, at this moment Xia Lin did not flinch in fear, but was excited to try. Having just gained power, he had the urge to try it. Next, Xia Lin opened her own panel. Host, Xia Lin, race, human. Level 2 stars. Strength assessment. The comprehensive strength of this world can reach the level of lower-level gods and demons. Abilities, basic physical technique, A. Basic sword technique, E. Intuition, D. Eye of Death, C. Draw sword, E. Has this reached the level of lower-level gods and demons? Xia Lin couldn't help shaking hands, and a confident smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He was a little surprised and a little proud, but soon he suppressed the pride in his heart. Xia Lin knows very well that in Devil High School, the strength of the lower-level gods and demons may be considered powerful and extraordinary in the eyes of ordinary people. But in the eyes of many gods and demons, they are only entry-level. If I have to describe it, it can only be regarded as a somewhat capable cannon fodder. At most, when he is a cannon fodder, he can struggle a little bit, nothing to be proud of at all. After learning about his current level from the system panel, the impulse in Xia Lin's heart became stronger. He suddenly gained power and had no experimental subjects. He never knew what level he was in actual combat. And now this task was perfectly in line with his idea. Defeat the lower-level gods and demons. Xia Lin pondered for a while and had a general idea in her mind. There are quite a few gods and demons in Kuwang Town, and there are quite a few devils in this Kuwang Academy alone. And the number of them completely meets Xia Lin's goal. It is undoubtedly the easiest and quickest way to directly find the group of gods and demons in Q Academy as task objects. Right now, I'd rather have a trial with those lost devils. Xia Lin couldn't help licking the corner of his mouth. A feeling that even he didn't know appeared in his heart. Xia Lin didn't know for the time being, but he knew that the agitation wouldn't be too bad. It's natural to go to Rias and the others as quest objects, but there may be some unexpected entanglements, such as debts. Most importantly, Xia Lin felt that she would definitely not be enjoying herself. And that was the main reason, however. Those lost devils wandering in the darkness of the city are undoubtedly better targets. Under normal circumstances, the level of lost devil will not be too high, especially in the place of Kuwang Town, which is Rias' territory as a minor noble devil. Her family will naturally not allow the overly powerful lost devil to appear in Kuwang Town. If it does appear, it will be solved by those adult high-level devils in advance. Most of the remaining devils were left to train these underage devils. It can be said that these lost devils fully meet the mission requirements of Xia Lin. There is something at home. Go first. As soon as the school bell rang, Xia Lin picked up her backpack and ran out of the classroom in a hurry, leaving the girl who wanted to ask him stunned on the spot. After leaving school, Xia Lin found a restaurant and planned to eat out. System, can you search where the lost devil is? Search for 100 points, never mind. Xia Lin shook her head and refused. She spent 50 points to buy weapons before, but now she only has 50 points, which is not enough. While sitting on the seat and waiting for dinner, Xia Lin had an idea. Took out her mobile phone and opened the web page to search for the recent disappearance case. Recently, there have been many disappearance cases in Kuwang Town, but the police have not found any clues, as if these people disappeared out of thin air. These news were all seen by Xia Lin when he was surfing the internet. At this time, Xia Lin had an idea. Xia Lin suspected that these missing people should have encountered the lost devil. Opening the webpage and constantly browsing the information about the disappearance cases, Xia Lin also found some suspicious places. Abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city. Xia Lin pondered and then chose a place. Let's take a look there after dinner. After the waiter brought the dinner, Xia Lin cleaned it up. It's too quiet. Xia Lin came to the abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city, carefully observed the surrounding environment, and suddenly found some strange places. There are a lot of vegetation and trees around. Although it is not dense, it is not rare. There should be at least some birds in this place. But Xia Lin did not see any birds when he observed the surroundings. At this moment, the setting sun is like blood, and the sky is dyed red, like a blood-colored canvas hanging high, revealing a trace of depression in Japan. Dusk is the transition period between day and night, and it is also the time when demons and ghosts prepare to travel. But if that's the case, doesn't it just mean that I'm not wrong? There was a chill in the air, and maybe ordinary people couldn't detect it. But after tenfold improvement, Xia Lin, who had this intuitive skill, could clearly perceive the chill. The chill brought about by the cooling of unpleasant weather. is an unpleasant chill with a move of his right hand. The refined samurai sword appeared in his hand. Xia Lin stared at the mottled and dilapidated factory in front of him. Holding the sword and slowly walked towards it, *kakaka. Walking on the road paved with stones. Xia Lin stepped into the abandoned factory. As soon as she walked in the door, Xia Lin felt the chill inside was stronger than outside. Looks like it's right here, Xia Lin sneered, feeling that the skill is really easy to use. It was originally an instinctive skill for combat, but now it's also good to use it to find people. At least it can be confirmed that there must be something unknown in this abandoned factory. As for whether it is a lower-level god and demon, it is not clear. Moreover, Xia Lin is very sure that since stepping into this place, he has been targeted, and it is only when he is targeted that he has such a chilling feeling. Come out since I've already walked in. Are you going to continue to hide from the guests? Xia Lin stood at the gate, glanced at the empty factory in front and shouted. The entire factory has long been abandoned and evacuated. Except for an empty shell factory and some useless garbage. There is nothing left after Xia Lin's voice. It reverberated with wisps of echoes. Although it was neither light nor heavy, it was guaranteed that the entire factory could hear it. After the echo-filled surroundings were still silent, and there was no response, then I'll find you myself. Xia Lin glanced around and became vigilant. This lost devil hiding in the factory building is very smart. Xia Lin wondered if she had acted a bit strong just now. If she acted like a lost, innocent little boy, would she let the monster relax its vigilance and show up in front of him swaggeringly? Immediately afterwards, Xia Lin slowly stepped into the interior of the abandoned factory, and his gaze was like a radar, taking in the surrounding scene. The scope of the entire factory is not large, and even turning every corner once will not take too much time. If there is a lost devil hidden in it, you can find the trail as long as you look for it patiently. Suddenly Xia Lin's heart trembled, his breath suffocated. Almost like a conditioned reflex, he quickly stepped back. Call out at the same time. A sound of breaking the air sounded, which was particularly clear in the quiet workshop. A white shadow fell from the sky like a long spear and was projected towards Xia Lin. Boom! A muffled sound resounded in the quiet workshop, where Xia Lin used to stand. A white object like a cloth pierced the ground. It's really scary. Xia Lin seemed to let out a sigh of relief, with a fluke like the rest of her life. But the smile on the corner of her mouth betrayed him. In fact, it was very easy to escape the sneak attack just now. Following the direction of the white object, Xia Lin looked over when she saw the attacker's appearance. She couldn't help but feel a sudden shock. The long hair that seems to be scattered like a ghost. The upper body is bare. The 8 feet are stuck to the ceiling like spiders. And the 8 eyes on the forehead are wide and frightening. Especially the grinning mouth has reached the ears. Here it's even more hideous. If I hadn't been a little mentally prepared for this, I would have been scared to death. In the dark factory building, it is simply a reproduction of a Japanese thriller scene. If another ordinary person is here, he may be scared of a heart attack. Jai. What a fragrant human being. It is 100 times more fragrant than the human I have eaten before. The lost devil let out a harsh laugh, and his 8 eyes kept rolling, staring at Xia Lin as a delicious prey. I didn't expect such a wonderful gift to arrive at my door before I left the city. And I'm so excited, Spider Devil sputtered words. And his 8 eyes stared at Xia Lin, wishing to eat Xia Lin alive. You will definitely be able to give me a full meal. Spider Devil stared at Xia Lin with flickering eyes, as if he was looking at a fragrant roast sheep. And even the saliva was dripping down the corner of his mouth. Looks like I'm lucky. If I'm one step later, I'll miss you. Xia Lin stared at the Spider Devil closely and said, listening to what this lost devil meant, he was planning to leave Kuwang Town. It's really a daring human. It looks like a swordsman among human beings. No wonder it's so delicious. I can't wait to eat you. Spider Devil smiled horribly. Although it will take some time, before Gremory and the others find this place. It shouldn't waste too much time if they eat you, Gremory. Looks like you're afraid of them, Xia Lin sneered. Damn Gremory, if it weren't for them, why would I run away? I just ate a few humans and let them look for me with great fanfare, so I had to hide. A look of resentment flashed in the spider devil's eyes, obviously hating Gremory clan who was chasing it. It turned out to be a bereaved dog who was forced to run away. But it seems a bit insulting to say that you are a dog. After all, dogs are so cute, but you are so ugly. Zealin sneered, the knife in his hand clenched tightly, and his body tightened, ready to start at any time. Damned human dare to laugh at me. The spider devil was furious, after all. He was a devil himself. But he was mocked and insulted by a little human. If it were those high-class devils, it would be fine. But it was a human being regarded as food by it. And it was simply unbearable, originally. Being pushed into hiding by Gremory clan made him unhappy. And now he is completely irritated. Before I just wanted to swallow you in one bite and make you and I become one. But now I have changed my mind and I will tear you apart. So that you can watch yourself being torn apart by me bit by bit. And then eaten by me, Spider Devil spoke bloody words. And saliva dripped from the corner of his mouth. Looking extremely hideous. The feet that were clinging to the ceiling suddenly exerted force. And the Spider Devil's body suddenly swooped down. And opened his arms as if he wanted to embrace Xia Lin. I'm sorry. It looks like you can't see my body being disassembled. But you... Xia Lin looked at the spider devil who suddenly swooped down from the ceiling. There was no fear in his eyes but a successful smile. Unexpectedly, a few words will stimulate it, and sure enough. The brains of these lost devils are a bit abnormal. Otherwise, the spider devil has been staying on the ceiling. And he is really not good at moving, after all. The workshop is very empty. And there is no place for borrowing. So it is not good to fight in midair. Straight to the devil's eye, Xia Lin called out softly. The next moment, the black and white eyes were replaced by an ice-blue brilliance. In his eyes, the picture of the world began to change. And there were mottled and terrifying cracks. And the huge and disgusting spider devil also had cracks one after another, making its appearance even more terrifying. Looking at the swooping spider devil, Xia Lin was unmoved. And when the spider devil was about to rush in front of him, the hand holding the knife finally raised, slash. A clear knife light flickered and flashed through the dim factory building. The knife light was sharp and dazzling, and it slashed the body of the spider devil with precision and fierceness. After the knife was slashed, the light of the knife continued to wave like a net of light, and the speed was extremely fast, slashing at the body of the lost devil, along with Xia Lin's swing of the knife. His own figure also moved, and he brushed past the spider devil. Boom. Do you think that learning a little swordsmanship can do any harm to me? I'm devil, the fancy attacks are useless to mehuman. You'd better be obedient. After the spider devil landed, he sneered at Xia Lin, but just halfway through his words, he felt that there was a problem with his vision, and he was constantly rolling like a whirlwind puff. On spider devil's body, blood lines shot out, and terrifying cracks appeared. What was even more terrifying was that the spider devil's head fell off his neck and rolled on the ground a few times before stopping. That is my body, how is it in front? Spider devil's mouth opened and closed. Out of the corner of his eyes, he saw his familiar body. His eyes were full of disbelief. What did he see? A tall devil's body stood beside him, and 8 spider feet supported the ground, standing still, looking very terrifying only. Why did that strong body have no head? What is he now? How? Do you think it's ugly? Xia Lin said casually from the side. No, but how could you? I'm devil's. Spider devil's head fell, and his mouth still opened his mouth and spit out a sentence with an unbelievable tone. The vitality is so tenacious, 7 with the head falling off. They can still maintain a trace of thinking. Xia Lin walked over and kicked devil's head, and turned his eyes to meet spider devil's broken body, allowing him to see his body more clearly. You won't have a chance to see me being torn apart, so you can only see your own body that's shattered into pieces. This kind of scene only happens once in your life. Don't take your eyes off it, and as the voice fell, as if the switch had been turned on, clear cracks appeared in the tall body of Spider Devil's huge body, and the red blood spurted out, and then it seemed to lose half of its support, and collapsed down, shattered into pieces. Spider Devil kept unable to continue uttering a complete sentence. The 8 eyes kept turning, until finally they stopped turning, and there was no sound at all. After seeing that Spider Devil was completely silent, Xia Lin withdrew from the fighting state, and the tense nerves were slowly relieved. Looking at this lost devil, Xia Lin felt a little helpless. In such a bloody scene, he himself felt no discomfort. Xia Lin couldn't help but sigh in his heart that he was also a freak. Otherwise, this would be enough to make normal people feel uncomfortable. The scene of screaming he felt ordinary, probably during this period of time. After learning that he was traveling through a world of gods and demons, he thought too much but let himself adapt in advance. Xia Lin can only comfort herself like this. The ending is a hassle, putting aside the boring thoughts. After thinking about it for a while, Xia Lin looked at the minced meat on the ground and decided to leave it alone. Ding! Congratulations to the host for defeating a low-class devil and earning 100 points. The current task is 1/3 completed. Please make persistent efforts to complete the task as soon as possible. When Spider Devil completely died, a cold reminder sounded in Xia Lin's mind, call. Xia Lin breathed a sigh of relief and returned the samurai sword to the system space. The tense nerves slowly relaxed, and the blue in his eyes began to dissipate and restore the black and white color. Sure enough, choosing to kill the low-class devil was an appropriate option. Don't look at using the characteristics of the devil's eye of immediate death. Xia Lin instantly killed the Spider Devil with a single blow. But this was considered to have used all of Xia Lin's current trump cards to be able to kill the Spider Devil so easily. Actually, it's not easy. After all, this is a life-and-death battle. If he chooses to compete with the devils at Kuo Academy, I'm afraid he won't win so quickly. Because sparring and life-and-death battles are different. If you don't use the magic eye of death, I'm afraid it won't be so easy to win. Moreover, compared to the lost devils with abnormal brains, those normal low-class devils are often trained, and their fighting level is probably much stronger than Xia Lin. And it is even more difficult to deal with, without using the demon eye of immortality. With Xia Lin's current comprehensive strength, it is estimated that it will be difficult to get a good deal in the hands of those dependent devils. And if he uses the magic eye of death, Xia Lin is afraid that he accidentally cuts into the place where he shouldn't, causing problems with them and causing trouble. Glancing at the Spider Devil, which was shattered into pieces, Xia Lin quickly left the dilapidated factory without any nostalgia. It's still early to find a place to recover your strength, and then continue to look for the next target. After leaving, Xia Lin glanced at the time. It had only been 10 minutes since he entered the factory and killed the Spider Devil, and he still had one night to waste. After finding a place to sit on the grass, Xia Lin took out her mobile phone and looked at it slowly. Regarding the haunting places of the lost devil, Xia Lin actually marked 3 places, and the factory is one of them. It can only be said that Xia Lin had good luck. She found Devil at the first time, and killed him without hindrance, saving a lot of time. A system, help me search for the trail of the next lower-level lost devil. With enough points, Xia Lin no longer searches blindly like a headless fly. It's just a matter of finding the system for such trivial matters. Anyway, these points are not enough to exchange for other good things. It is better to complete the task quickly and get the reward. Will you spend 100 points to search for the trail of the lower-level lost devil? Yes, Xia Lin chose the OK option without hesitation. And the system quickly gave an answer. Northwest in a grove 4 kilometers away. It's not too far. System, if I rush over, no will it have moved. Not that's a temporary residence for the lost devil. And it will stay there for a while. Enough for the host to get there, that's good. After getting an affirmative answer, Xia Lin also finished resting and headed to the next location in a hurry. Kuo Academy Occult Research Club. Inside a dark room. The members of the Occult Research Club are all here. Rias was sitting at the minister's desk. Taoju Kaniko was sitting on the sofa. Hamjima Aquino was standing beside Rias like a maid. And Kiba Yuyudo was standing upright like a knight. Recently, I've been busy choosing suitable candidates from among the students to be my new family members. I didn't expect to neglect the jurisdiction over the territory. Rias had a worried look on her face. Minister, have you encountered any problems? Taoju Kaniko raised his eyes. His golden pupils looked at Rias with concern. Rias rubbed her forehead with a headache. Holding a document in her right hand, it's not a problem. It's just that there have been too many signs of lost devil activities in Kuwang Town recently. And the underworld has already given them. I announced that if the problem cannot be solved within the stipulated time, I will send someone to solve it for me. It looks like a troublesome thing. Hamjima Aquino leaned over, glanced at the document in Ria's hand, and her smiling face took on a hint of seriousness. It's not too much trouble, it's just my responsibility. After all, those lost devils are just a bunch of clowns jumping on the beam. If they hadn't been distracted by him recently, they wouldn't have the chance to make a fortune in my territory. Get rid of them later. Rias handed the document in her hand to Hamjima Aquino, who looked at it with interest. It seems that many mice have sneaked into Kuwang Town during the busy time when the school started recently. Hamjima Aquino looked over and said so. The document in Ria's hand records some specific information about the lost devil in Kuwang Town. These lost devils are not stupid. They think I'm an underage high-class devil. Compared with other high-class devils, they must be relatively safe in the world. Unfortunately, they chose the wrong target. The corners of Ria's mouth evoked a confident and stern smile, so that the three people around could feel her confidence. I will make them understand that the majesty of the Gremory family cannot be provoked. And as the heir of the Gremory family, I am definitely not in veins. The minister's killing intent is very strong today. Taoju Kaniko said, Ara. I can feel that those little mice are going to be unlucky tonight. Maybe they will be able to see the red-haired minister's gesture of killing the princess. Hamjima Aquino put down the document, covered her mouth and chuckled full of confidence in Rias, and joked casually, Minister, when are we leaving? Kiba Yuyudo is very straightforward. His weapon is already attached to his waist. Ready to fight at any time, let's go. No, it's already night. It's time for those lost devils to come out. I don't want any more trouble in my territory. Rias stood up from her seat, and the other three followed to the center of the room. Everyone, there are quite a few tasks tonight. And it's going to be hard for you all, Rias smiled. And then in the center of the room, a burst of red light suddenly lit up, and a huge magic circle slowly appeared. Taoju Kaniko clenched his fist vigorously. Kiba Yuyudo put his hand on the hilt of the sword at his waist. On the other hand, Hamjima Aquino stood up straight like a lady, seemingly unconcerned, and still had a smile on her face. Okay, everyone, let's go. With that said, everyone stepped into the magic circle. The sky gradually turned dark in a dark grove. A violent collision sounded, but after the sound, it didn't take long for it to be quiet. After the voice fell, Xia Lin walked out of a small forest. The blade in her hand had a trace of blood, which was the blood left by the lost devil. The second one solved it. There was a faint smile on Xia Lin's mouth, and he killed another lost devil with ease, obviously making him in a good mood. Search me for the last trace of the lost devil, Xia Lin instructed, and soon learned the exact location from the system. Without delay, he quickly turned into a black shadow in the dark night and ran quickly towards his destination. The last one is still to complete the task and get the reward. And now Xia Lin is very eager to solve the last lost devil. It was just after he left for a while. A red light flashed in the woods, which looked a little weird and terrifying. As the red light gradually disappeared, 4 figures suddenly appeared in the woods. The 4 figures are Rias and the others. The smell of lost devil is mixed with a strong smell of blood. Tauju Kaniko wrinkled his nose, sniffed the air, and said so although she is a cat demon. She has a very sensitive sense of smell. Hearing this, a hint of solemnity appeared on the faces of several people. It's not the smell of human blood. It's the smell of devil blood, Tauju Kaniko explains. There, Kiba Yuyudo glanced around vigilantly, and then saw a tall shadow collapsed on the ground. Rias took the lead and walked towards the tall shadow lying on the ground, and silently glanced at the dead lost devil. Himejima Aquino covered her mouth with a chuckling said, "It looks like someone has been preempted again, Rias." "Why say it again?" "Because this is the second dead lost devil they encountered tonight. And the first one was the spider devil that was dismembered by Xia Lin in the factory. Because of the news that the devil was going to escape from Kuwang Town at night, Rias naturally led the team to clean it up first. What Rias didn't expect was that when the group arrived there, the spider devil had already been killed and cut into pieces, bleeding all over the place in the end. They just went to clean up the mess and dispose of the spider devil's body. Tusk Somyeon cut off his head with a knife, and his death is a little better than the spider devil just now. Himejima Aquino circled around the lost devil's body and found that the devil's wound was only on the neck, as if it had been killed by someone and cut off its head. "Yuyudo, come and look at this wound." Rias ordered to Kiba Yuyudo. "Okay, Minister." Hearing this, Kiba Yuyudo stepped forward and took a careful look at the wound on the lost devil's neck. "If I'm not mistaken, the weapon that caused this deadly attack should be the same as the lost devil just now. A skilled swordsman can judge a weapon by its wound. Apparently Kiba Yuyudo has this ability too, not to mention. The fatal wound of Spider Devil was actually cut off by Zealin, and the injuries of the two were almost identical, Rias. It seems that someone has taken the lead to hunt the lost devil with us." Himejima Aquino showed a very interested look, and was very interested in this person who competed with them for prey. "Rias, what do you think about this matter?" Himejima Aquino looked at Rias. Kuwang Town is Rias' territory. Someone in her territory preemptively hunted the lost devil. And not once but twice a night, which is really subtle. There is no such unpleasant smell on the clergy around. Presumably the ones who killed the two lost devils should not belong to the church. "This is good news for us," Rias smiled helplessly. "I hope the other party is not an enemy." It was obviously a trouble in her territory, but it was solved by others first. There was always a feeling of being slapped in the face, which made Rias feel a little aggrieved. "I can't be preempted by others, or my Gremory name will really be shamed." There was a flash of fighting spirit in Rias' eyes, and she was once again preempted to kill the prey, which really made this arrogant girl feel fighting in her heart. "But this guy is really careless and wants me to finish for him," Rias said helplessly. Zealin didn't have the means to collect the corpse, and it was obviously time-consuming to deal with such a huge corpse. So he basically just killed it and left. And if this kind of lost devil's body was discovered by ordinary people, what kind of sensation it would cause? A magic light flashed in Ria's hand, and a red torrent suddenly spewed out of her hand and fell towards Devil's corpse. The torrent of red magic power was like a gluttonous food, swallowing Devil's body completely in an instant. The tall corpse was processed by Rias, and not even the scum was left, except for some blood that was seeping into the soil flowing on the ground, indicating that a life-and-death battle had taken place here. "Let's go, there are still a few goals to come. I don't want to be given the lead every time." Destroying Devil's body. Rias was not in a particularly good mood. After starting from Kyo Academy, it was like eating ashes behind other people's ***. This kind of thing is always one step behind others. It's like losing. It really made her a little annoyed. And she was also inspired to fight as the heir of Duke Devil. Her inner arrogance would not allow her to be robbed of her prey again and again. However, in the same way, the sudden appearance of a lost devil hunter made Rias feel a sense of vigilance. The red light flickered under her feet, and the magic circle appeared. Rias stepped in first and then disappeared. Even Himejima Aquino was stunned. It looks like our princess was hit tonight and left us alone. Seeing this scene, Hajime Aquino was not only not angry, but showed a look of interest and said with a smile, "Is the minister angry?" Taoju Kaniko's small face with the fake 3-nothingness did not change much, and she could also feel the change in Rias' emotions. "It's not that I'm angry, it should be that I feel unwilling," Kiba Yuyudo said helplessly. Yuyudo-kun still knows our princess very well, but I haven't seen Rias with such an expression for a long time. Hajime Aquino said with a smile. Sister Aquino, let's hurry up and catch up. The situation tonight is a bit unexpected. If you really encounter any difficult enemies, it will be dangerous, Kiba Yuyudo said, and quickly walked into the magic circle that hadn't disappeared. Maybe this time, we can really meet the person who stole our prey. Hajime Aquino was suddenly very interested in the character who killed the lost devil twice. She also stepped into the magic circle quickly. And then Taoju Kaniko also stepped into the magic circle. Under a flash of lights, the three disappeared and were teleported to Rias together. On the other hand, following the prompts given by the system, Xia Lin quickly found the last lost devil, Tusk Kid. Don't you know it's very dangerous to stay in the city at night and run into this wilderness? This is a 2-meter tall devil with a single horn on its head, a sheep-like body on its lower body, and black scales on its upper body, with a weird smile on his face. The one-horned devil stared at the sudden arrival of Xia Lin with a coveted look. For example, have you encountered a monster like you? Xia Lin glanced at the one-horned devil and responded like this. Monster? Stupid human, how dare you say that this uncle is a monster? The one-horned devil suddenly showed a look of resentment. Staring at Xia Lin angrily, this uncle is a noble devil. Not a monster, Xia Lin shrugged. But he didn't expect that another casual remark would offend the unicorn devil's nerves. He said with a half-smile, is it considered noble to lose a devil? This kind of thing seems to be expelled from the orthodox devil's hometown. Right, devil is not devil and human is not human. It looks like a hybrid of various animal bodies. I really can't think of a suitable word to describe you other than monster. Damn you be ******* human. The one-horned devil was choked to death and stared at Xia Lin angrily. His eyes suddenly lost their original color and became like 2 gray stones stuffed into their sockets, looking hideous and terrifying. Speak well and don't scold people, Xia Lin waved her hand. This uncle not only wants to scold people but also kills. The one-horned devil is full of anger. And with his abnormal mind, he is definitely not Xia Lin's opponent. And Shileja is angry with Xia Lin's attitude immediately. He was ready to fight. He kicked the ground with his limbs and hoofs, and a powerful explosive force rushed out towards Xia Lin. At the same time, a weapon suddenly appeared in the hands of the one-horned devil. It was a large, cold weapon in the shape of a halberd. It was swung powerfully in the hands of the one-horned devil. A tree that rushed along the way was directly cut off. Xia Lin's eyes widened, and he immediately called out a weapon from the system warehouse and held it in his hand. Clang! A violent sound rang out in the quiet woods, and the strong sparks that shot out proved that the collision of the weapons just now was very powerful. The strength is good, it's not in vain that you are so big. Feeling the impact from the blade, Xia Lin smiled lightly, then turned to the side quickly, took a step move to the side, slightly away from the one-horned devil. I want you to tell me, assholes human. Hearing Xia Lin's slightly teasing voice, the unicorn devil suddenly became angry and roared angrily. Wait, this uncle must cut you into 8 pieces. Let you dare to laugh at this uncle. The one-horned devil twisted his body. His 2 hind hooves kicked on the ground and dug out a handful of dirt. With the strength of his hind hooves, he twisted his body and continued to kill Xia Lin, tall body, wielding large cold weapons in human lower body. Extraordinary speed. One-horned devil's fighting style is very similar to ancient military commanders. Every move is full of explosive power, as if to force the enemy to give up crush. A lost devil said something similar before. Guess how he is now, Xia Lin smiled slightly. and the icy blue light suddenly flickered. He opened the magic eye of death and calmly responded to the attack of the one-horned devil. How about it? Hearing this, the one-horned devil was stunned for a moment, suddenly curious about the situation of the lost devil that Xia Lin spoke of. And even the attack in his hand slowed down temporarily. Broken to the ground. Xia Lin shook her head as if she answered regretfully. Hearing this, the one-horned devil was stunned for a moment. Obviously, he didn't quite understand what Xia Lin meant by shattered to the ground. For a moment when he was stunned, Xia Lin's eyes narrowed, and he drew his sword and slashed out with extreme speed. The crisis of death immediately pulled the one-horned devil back from his stupor. His huge body quickly dodged, trying to avoid the fatal blow. And at the same time, the halberd in his hand swept forward, forcing Xia Lin back. Chinese letter, even so. Xia Lin's blade left a deep scar on the unicorn devil's body, and blood spurted out. What? The pain of being slashed made the one-horned devil let out a painful roar, and two eyes like gray stones stared at Xia Lin, wishing to kill Xia Lin with their eyes. Damn it, damn humans. How dare you hurt the noble body of this uncle? The one-horned devil shouted like a madman, and the weapon in his hand was even more frantically waving, attacking like a gust of wind and rain. You actually escaped. You are not an ordinary low-class devil, right? Xia Lin was slightly surprised. The combination of the sword and the straight-to-death magic eye could be said to be invincible. The previous two lost devils were simply and neatly solved by him with this move. Unexpectedly, the one-horned devil in front of him could escape the fatal blow just now. Moreover, the speed and strength of the one-horned devil just now were much stronger than the previous two lost devils. Low-class devil, if it weren't for that B***** D master. This uncle would be a middle-class devil now. After hearing Xia Lin's words, the unicorn devil was even more mad. As if his scar was opened by Xia Lin, and he shouted angrily. This uncle just made a small mistake. That B***** D master wanted to punish me and handed me over to the law enforcement team. So I could only run out as a lost devil after killing you. I must take revenge on that master B***** D. The best of the low-class devils, no wonder. Xia Lin shook his head and listened to the unicorn devil's tone. Before he became the lost devil, he should have almost become a middle-class devil. The system's assessment of Xia Lin's strength is about the level of the low-class devil. In the face of the leader among the low-class devils, naturally can't solve the opponent as neatly as before. The key lies in his weapon. Xia Lin switched tactics. The dead line on the one-horned devil was completely exposed to his straight-to-death demon eyes. But the one-horned devil wielded a long weapon, which made it difficult for him to get close. Even if he saw the deadly dead line, he couldn't cut it now. Only by destroying the one-horned devil's weapon can he hit those dead lines on his body. The next moment, Xia Lin's offensive changed. Instead of attacking the unicorn devil himself, he switched to the weapon in the unicorn devil's hand. At a distance of more than 300 meters from the two, a red magic circle suddenly appeared in the air, as if opening an arbitrary door, and a red figure walked out of the magic circle. It was Rias, who came in a hurry by herself. This is Rias, who stepped out of the magic circle. Couldn't help but stunned. And then she looked in the direction of Xia Lin and the one-horned devil with a serious expression. Lost Devil's breath, there is another person. The two are fighting. There was a smile in the corner of Ria's mouth. In this quiet night, the breath of the two was so easy to find. And there was no cover at all. Rias didn't even use some exploration magic to easily find out. Two people. Looks like my luck is good this time. I finally found you. Snatch two of my prey and finally let me catch you. Let me see how holy you are. Rias stared at the two blurred figures not far away, with a hint of curiosity and brilliance in her eyes. She really wanted to know who was the one who robbed her two prey one after another in one night, so that she could only follow behind to eat ashes. And who was the one who hurriedly cleaned up the mess left by the other party. At this moment, Rias came at the right time, and did not wait until the other party had solved the lost devil like the previous two times. Obviously, the other party is still fighting with the lost devil at the moment. This time we must not let you take the lead again. Rias felt very fortunate. She stepped out of the magic circle without hesitation. After feeling the fluctuation of the battle, she immediately flew towards Xia Lin and the lost devil. A distance of 300 meters is not difficult for a high-class devil at all. In less than half a minute, Rias was close to the battle between Xia Lin and the lost devil. It's him. After getting closer, Rias finally saw clearly the appearance of the two fighting. One was the one-horned devil mentioned in the previous document, and the one who fought against the one-horned devil. Rias was no stranger. How can it be? After seeing the appearance of Xia Lin, Rias had a little disbelief in her eyes. Rias is no stranger to Xia Lin. As long as her memory is not so bad as to be Alzheimer's, she can't help but forget what Xia Lin looks like, after all. This young man only confessed to her not long ago and was rejected by her. Remember, it's called Xia Lin. Rias whispered the name of Xia Lin in a low voice, for Xia Lin. Rias actually had a little bit of a favorable impression. Of course, it's not the goodwill between men and women, but the appreciation as a senior because, among the boys who were rejected by Rias, only Xia Lin was the most free and easy, and did not receive any blows, and that free and easy. It doesn't look like a disguisener, is it a forced smile? Which is also very rare for a high school student. It's just a good feeling. But what's going on in this situation now? Is this the guy I'm fighting with? What the hell is going on here? The moment she saw Xia Lin, the impulse in Ria's heart was completely replaced by disbelief. And she completely forgot her purpose of coming here. Watching the battle between Xia Lin and the unicorn devil, Rias did not step forward to interrupt, but chose to watch the battle quietly. Very sharp swordsmanship. And the timing is also very accurate as a high-class devil. Rias is still underage, but she has a good eye, and she soon sees the advantages of Xia Lin in the battle. The more she watched Xia Lin's battle, the more she was surprised by Xia Lin's strength. The brilliance in Rias' eyes grew stronger, and her eagerness to compete with the opponent before was also overwhelmed. Another idea to replace magic eye, especially the icy blue in the eyes of the other party that is not like a normal person. It is definitely a kind of magic eye. Ria's heart became more and more shocked. Originally, Xia Lin was just a little brother who adored her in her heart. But she didn't expect that she had not seen her for a long time. And she gave herself such a wonderful surprise. When he was on the rooftop, he didn't feel any aura related to the mysterious world in Xia Lin at all. He was just an ordinary human being, but now, looking at the fierce and skilled skills of the other party, it definitely doesn't look like a rookie who has just awakened the magic eye. In other words, Xia Lin may have a secret technique similar to concealing her breath, making it difficult for Hera's a high-class devil to notice. Interest. Rias had a strong interest in her heart. She really wanted to see what kind of secret Xia Lin had, and she even kept it from herself. Suddenly, the teleportation magic circle flashed again, and the place where the magic circle was opened was near Rias. A rich red light flickered, and a magic circle swirled and emerged, illuminating the dim woods. Rias, Minister. The figures of Harmless, Aino, Kiba, Yuyuda, and Tauju Kaniko emerged from the magic circle and called to Rias. Ara, it looks like you have found the target. Rias is lucky. Like Rias, the moment they stepped out of the magic circle, the three of them also felt the battle between Xia Lin and the unicorn devil. What's more, the distance is so close, and the fight is undisguised, unless it is a disabled person with 5 senses defects. Harmless Aquino looked over with interest, wanting to see how holy the person who made Rias lose his temper. However, at the moment of seeing Xia Lin, Harmless Aquino, like Rias, was slightly startled, showing a look of shock. However, this commotion also caught the attention of Xia Lin and Unicorn Devil in the fierce battle. Damn, it's Gremory's group. The moment he saw the 4 of them, especially the moment he saw Rias, the Unicorn Devil's face flashed with extreme disgust and jealousy. Bright bloody colors. Gremory clan's signature is a nightmare for lost devils like them. Not only the one-horned devils, but also Xia Lin's eyes were attracted by the flashing red light. After all this kind of unresolved fight, if there is any interference, it is very dangerous. It turned out to be them. Xia Lin looked at the four familiar figures, especially after seeing the three girls. The corners of her mouth twitched, and she immediately retracted her attention. As for Rias and the others, Xia Lin is more at ease, after all. He has learned their character from the original book, so he is not worried about what threat they will pose to him. Therefore, Xia Lin quickly recovered his mind and continued to attack the one-horned devil. I know you despicable human, you can't beat me. But you have to ask for help. The unicorn devil complained angrily, and was even more angry with Xia Lin. Xia Lin rolled her eyes. You lost, devil, have you got a bit of a fight? I've been pressing you to fight, okay? Victory or defeat is only a matter of time. When it comes to your mouths, it turns out to be unable to beat you, so shameless. Xia Lin was really too lazy to answer the one-horned devil. She just responded with the blade in her hand. The one-horned devil was afraid and wanted to escape. But Xia Lin didn't give him a chance at all. And the offensive did not weaken in the slightest, giving him no chance to escape. Crack. Under the continuous attack, the halberd in the hands of the one-horned devil finally made a sound of being overwhelmed and began to shatter. Then in Xia Lin's attack, he was shattered by his knife. It turned out to be him, on the other city obviously. The moment he saw Xia Lin, Hajime Akino was also surprised and couldn't help but blurt out like Rias. Then she narrowed her eyes slightly and looked at Xia Lin with interest, with an unknown brilliance in her eyes. Akino, you know him too, hearing Akino's exclamation. Rias turned her gaze away and asked curiously, and also. Hearing Ria's question, Hajime Akino instinctively noticed Ria's expression. She nodded and said, "This is the little boyfriend I made today." Hajime Akino did not hide it and directly revealed the identity of Xia Lin's boyfriend. After all, this kind of thing is not a secret. And if Rias wants to know, it is not difficult. So it's him who confessed to you today. Rias frowned. Slightly surprised by Hajime Akino's answer, well, I had a faint feeling that he might be hiding something. But I didn't expect to give me such a surprise. Hajime Akino's beautiful eyes glowed, and she looked at the man and the demon in the battlefield with a sly smile. The corner of her mouth couldn't help but raise a strange arc, as if she had discovered a new continent. It turned out to be so. Rias knew. She had heard Hajime Akino say before that her new boyfriend was very interesting. It is for this reason of interesting that Akino tries to date Xia Lin. Afterwards, Hajime Akino asked, Rias, it seems that you and Xia Lin-kun also know each other. Well, I dealt with him not long ago, so I think I know him. Rias nodded and gave an ambiguous answer, not saying what Xia Lin confessed to herself. The two people on the side. Kiba Yuyudo didn't have any friendship with Xia Lin. But he also looked at Xia Lin with some hot eyes, of course. It's just the thoughts that arise after seeing a good swordsman. As for the other person, Taoju Kaniko, there were no emotional fluctuations on the indifferent San Wu's face. But he also stared at Xia Lin dazedly, however. After hearing the conversation between Rias and Hajime Akino, an inexplicable fluctuation flashed in Taoju Kaniko's golden pupils. This big pervert. Taoju Kaniko lowered his head slightly and cursed in an inaudible voice. A trace of contempt and displeasure flashed when he lowered his head. However, neither Rias nor Hajime Akino heard Taoju Kaniko's self-talk, and focused on Xia Lin and the one-horned devil in the field. Rias, aren't you going to do it? This is the one who robbed your two targets. Hajime Akino said as if he was afraid that the world would not be in chaos. Rias, who had been talking vigorously before that she must find her way back if she didn't lose her gremmery reputation, was the most calm at this moment. Look and talk. Rias did not intend to do anything. Could it be that Hajime Akino's Rias' childhood sweetheart quickly captured Rias' heart? Have the idea. There was a tacit understanding between the two, and Rias knew that Hajime Akino had guessed what she was thinking. It looks like we'll have a companion soon, don't you think? Rias. Hajime Aquino cupped her cheek with her right hand and said with a smile. Rias didn't say anything, apparently acquiescing to this answer. After seeing Xia Lin's battle, Rias had the idea of taking Xia Lin as her servant. Yuyudo, how does Xia Lin's swordsmanship compare to yours? Rias looked at Kiba Yuyudo and asked, very strong. Kiba Yuyudo gave a very high and fair answer compared to me. His attack is very simple and straightforward. From the perspective of fighting the enemy, my swordsmanship should not be as good as his fencing. Kiba Yuyudo is a knight, and his own style is similar to that of ancient knights. And this style is naturally integrated into his swordsmanship. If Kiba Yuyudo's swordsmanship is more ornamental, then Xia Lin's swordsmanship is more for actual combat. After all, with the cooperation of the evil eye of death, every time Xia Lin uses the knife, it is to achieve the goal of hacking the opponent to death. The actual combat is naturally strong, however. If I just use swordsmanship with him, I shouldn't lose. Kiba Yuyudo held the hilt at his waist, and there was no pride in his words. But he seemed very confident. Yuyudo-kun has a high rating, Hajime Aquino said with a smile. And she looked at Rias again, not lose. This also hides another explanation. Just won't necessarily win. The three people present were a little surprised. As companions who got along day and night, they knew exactly how powerful Kiba Yuyudo was. And this Xia Lin has a level of swordsmanship that may be on a par with Kiba Yuyudo. It really surprised them. After hearing Kiba Yuyudo's comments, Ria's eyes became more interested, and she became more determined to take Xia Lin as her family. This time Xia Lin-kun is completely targeted by Rias, and it seems that he can't escape. Hajime Aquino laughed like a good shonen in an instant. She saw through Ria's thoughts. Isn't this your little boyfriend? If you become my family, you can get along day and night, right? Rias responded with a smile. Hajime Aquino rolled her eyes. She knew exactly what happened to this boyfriend, however. Hajime Aquino glanced at Xia Lin. It is indeed a suitable boyfriend. Taoju Kaniko snorted softly, expressing his dissatisfaction. And looking at Xia Lin with a hint of displeasure, Resh said, Minister, it's just that we haven't figured out his origin. So it's still in the investigation stage, Rias nodded. And there was nothing wrong with Taoju Kaniko's consideration. This lost devil is probably the most powerful one in tonight's target. Even if it's a middle-class devil, it will take a lot of effort to take him down. Hajime Aquino looked at the unicorn devil. When she was in school, she read the information and learned about the unicorn devil. A creature like a lost devil, in fact, has basically reached the level of middle-class devil, which has already been capped after all. Someone who has reached the level of a high-class devil already belongs to the high level among devils. Therefore, the strength of the one-horned devil is not weak among the many lost devils. Well, it's really hard to deal with if it was me. It would not be easy to suppress him without using the magic sword to create it. Kiba Yuyudo nodded and said, The fighting style of an ancient general like the one-horned devil is the most incompatible style for swordsmen who use short weapons. And Xia Lin facing the waving large halberd was not stumped, but suppressed the opponent everywhere, and even left wounds on the opponent's body. And Xia Lin himself did not seem to have any damage. This makes Kiba Yuyudo more optimistic about Xia Lin. However, in addition to being a swordsman, Kiba Yuyudo is also a sacred gear owner. If the magic sword is created, he can easily defeat the one-horned devil. The battle between Xia Lin and the one-horned devil has entered the white-hot state, and Rias and others have no idea of intervening, unless Xia Lin is defeated and danger occurs. Rias intentionally wanted to see how powerful Xia Lin was, while the other three naturally followed Rias' thoughts. However, it looks like the outcome of the battle is about to be announced. Rias stared at the two fighting, her eyes flashing with satisfaction. If Xia Lin was defeated, she would naturally come to the rescue as soon as possible. But right now, it doesn't seem necessary. This made Xia Lin's evaluation in Rias' heart a little higher. Under everyone's attention, the weapon in the hands of the unicorn devil shattered into pieces under Xia Lin's violent attack like a storm. Obviously, the weapon is useless, and the one-horned devil, with the advantages of weapons and body, made Xia Lin unable to get close to the problem, was also solved in an instant. Hateful. The one-horned devil held a broken halberd in his hand and glanced at it with fire-breathing eyes. Such a short iron rod was difficult to hold in his hand. Let alone a weapon, he was puzzled. Obviously, this halberd was in good use just now. Why was it suddenly chopped up? Yes, not cut off. Instead, it was broken into pieces. If it is cut off, it is excusable. What is the matter with this broken into pieces? And Rias and Kiba Yuyudo also felt a little weird. The weapon in Xia Lin's hand is not a sacred gear at all. It should be just a relatively sharp mortal soldier. And it can achieve this unexpected effect, obviously. This must be attributed to Xia Lin's own strength. Damn human, not only looking for help, but also destroying my weapon in a despicable way. The one-horned devil was furious and threw the remaining halberd in his hand very angrily, using it as a hidden weapon. Boom. Xia Lin swung the knife and blocked it. Don't think you can beat me like this. The one-horned devil let out a loud roar and suddenly lowered his body and lowered his head. The one horn on his head suddenly became sharp and thick, and magical fluctuations began to appear around his body. The next moment, the one-horned devil, like a speeding truck, rammed towards Xia Lin without hesitation. Whether it is speed or strength, it is far beyond the level just now. If it is pushed by his unicorn, it is estimated that it will be directly pushed through. And there are trump cards. Xia Lin's eyes were full of fighting intent, and his steps were fast. It's just, isn't this courting deaths? If the one-horned devil were just as cautious as before, and even picked up a random tree in the woods as a weapon, he would have to spend a lot of effort. However, this kind of rampage, completely exposing the weakness of the body to Xia Lin's face, is no different from giving away the head at this moment. In Xia Lin's eyes, the one-horned devil is a big piece of meat full of cracks. This aura has reached the level of middle-class devil. Hajime Akino's eyes narrowed, feeling the rising breath of the one-horned devil, and the smile on her face began to shrink, prepare to shoot. The level of the middle-class devil. He should be difficult to deal with, Rias nodded. After watching the battle for a short period of time, Rias roughly judged that Xia Lin's strength was roughly the level of the best among the low-class devils, not the level of the middle-class devils. And the one-horned devil should be using a special method to raise his magic level to the level of a middle-class devil. From the point of view of Rias and others, Xia Lin, who had been fighting with the unicorn devil before, naturally would not be the opponent of the unicorn devil. If they don't take action, they are likely to fall into a dangerous situation. Kaniko stopped that lost devil. This kind of lost devil, like a bull, naturally has to be dealt with by Kaniko, who is also a power type. Yes, Minister. Taoju Kaniko nodded, waved his fist and was ready to shoot. But the next momentous scene that made them all tremble. Facing the unicorn devil, whose strength suddenly rose to the level of middle-class devil, Xia Lin not only had no idea of escaping, but recklessly went up to him, this uneasy guy. Hajime Akino made a rare complaint for a savage collision of the one-horned devil's level. Apart from Kaniko, I am afraid that no one can take it head-on. Lightning flashed in her hand, ready to use magic to stop the unicorn devil. She didn't want to see the tragic scene of Xia Lin being injured by the unicorn devil. Don't take the blame. Xia Lin also noticed the movements of the people on Ria's side, and dropped a word coldly. Xia Lin is very clear. Let's not talk about Taoju Kaniko and Kiba Yuyu. Rias and Hajime Akino are the real high-class devil strength. If these two people make a shot, they will definitely be able to grab the lid before him, devil beheaded. I was busy all night running around. My mission was about to be completed. How could I let them destroy it halfway? Hearing this, Rias was a little bit dumbfounded. She was clearly trying to help him but was warned. And robbing monsters, who is robbing whom besides? Is it a question of whether to grab the monster or not? I don't know, good peoples. Taoju Kaniko paused and said expressionlessly, with a trace of fluctuation in his voice. Obviously displeased by Xia Lin's words, Minister. Let's wait until the winner is decided between them. As a swordsman, I can understand his mood. Kiba Yuyudo's eyes were firm in the face of a strong enemy. Even if we fail, we must personally verify it. If we help at this moment, it will be a way of disrespecting the other party, of course. If Zealin knew that Kiba Yuyudo had such a high rating, she would definitely be dumbfounded. He is not a noble swordsman. He just simply doesn't want others to steal monsters and let his mission fail. Okay, Rias nodded and agreed with Kiba Yuyudo's approach. Although she didn't want to see Xia Lin injured by the lost devil. Since the other party had already refused, it was naturally not easy to take action. And Kiba Yuyudo's words do make sense, however. The next moment, a scene that shocked the four of them appeared again. I saw one person and one demon rushing towards each other. But at the moment when they were about to collide, Zealin exerted force under his feet, jumped high, and slashed the opponent's head with a knife puff. The scene where Zealin was knocked out did not appear. Instead, it was the one-horned devil, who was split in half with a knife from head to body. This completely opposite situation left Rias and the others stunned. Rias widened her eyes. How is that possible? Hajime Aquino lightly covered her small mouth, her eyes glowing with brilliance. It will really create a surprise for us. That big pervert is so strong. Taoju Kaniko couldn't help but blurt out with disbelief. What a sharp knife. Kiba Yuyudo clenched the hilt of the sword with his right hand with a fighting intent. Zealin, who was considered unbeatable by everyone, not only did not lose the battle, on the contrary, he killed the one-horned devil neatly. I didn't expect that. I was wrong twice. And he even hid his strength. Seeing the one-horned devil who collapsed to the ground, Rias shook her head involuntarily. The first time, of course, was when Xia Lin confessed. Rias didn't notice that Xia Lin was a person with decent strength and thought he was just an ordinary person. The second time, of course, was just now. The strength of the one-horned devil suddenly increased. He originally thought that Xia Lin would fail, but he did not expect that the result would be completely opposite. Xia Lin not only was not defeated by the one-horned devil, but ended the opponent's life with one knife. Slapped on the spot, ding, congratulations to the host. The test of strength has been completed. The rewards are being distributed, please check. The moment Xia Lin killed the one-horned devil, a familiar sound from the system sounded in his mind. Get the primary magic power source. Get the basic magic training manual. Get 100 points. Get a chance to draw a lottery once. A series of beeps sounded again, and Xia Lin's face couldn't help but smile. And the hard work of the night finally paid off. Whether to use the reward to turn on the source of magic. Not for now, Xia Lin shook her head. Now that there are outsiders present, it is obviously not the right time to use the reward. The magic power source is turned on, and the aura is bound to change. I will talk about it when I get home. After being rejected by Xia Lin, the system fell into silence and stopped asking questions. Taking a deep breath, Xia Lin glanced at the corpse on the ground, and then put her gaze on Rias and her party. Rias looked at Xia Lin with a complicated look. Compared with the one on the rooftop, she was obviously more careful this time. The young man in front of her who broke her cognition twice really had to let her care. And Hajime Aquino stood quietly beside Rias, with a Yamato Neidshiko-like smile. Kiba Yuyudo nodded at Xia Lin with a kind smile. Taoju Kaniko's golden pupils stared at Xia Lin tightly, expressing his emotions unabashedly in his eyes. Unhappy. Despise. Even Xia Lin can deeply feel the emotions expressed by Taoju Kaniko's three no-show face. It seems to be hated. Xia Lin shook her head helplessly, seeing Rias Hajime Aquino Taoju Kaniko. The joy of just completing the task and getting the reward was swept away. Xia Lin felt a bit of a headache instead. Trouble. Xia Lin is not stupid. It can be judged from the diametrically opposite attitude of Taoju Kaniko compared to yesterday. This is such a rollover, although Xia Lin didn't think that what he confessed to the three people could be hidden from them, and would have to be exposed sooner or later, after all. The three people are the most intimate relationship, even if it is not deliberately investigated, even if it is inadvertently no. But being dismantled on the spot still made him feel a little embarrassed. Before, Zealin still had a bit of luck. According to the knowledge of the original work and the character of the three of Rias, Zealin naively felt that even if the fact that he confessed to them existed, they should not deliberately talk about this kind of nutritious thing between them. Even if they knew this fact, it should have been an ambiguous situation after a long time. At that time at most, he knew that he had confessed to the three of them. As for the fact that he confessed within 2 days, it would definitely be negligible at that time. Even if it was dismantled, it would not be as embarrassing as it is now, after all. Xia Lin is now an adolescent male high school student. It is normal to like cute classmates and yearn for gentle seniors. Isn't it? As for now, Xia Lin sighed faintly, feeling a little helpless in her heart. She clearly chose to hunt the lost devil to temporarily avoid contact with Rias and the others. However it happened to happen, should it be fate. Although you can turn around and walk away to avoid embarrassment. But if you can run, the monk can't run away from the temple. As long as Xia Lin intends to stay in Q Academy, he will inevitably deal with Rias and the others in the future. It's not right. What am I nervous about? Xia Lin laughed. It wasn't a big deal. Besides, at this time, whoever is cowardly is embarrassed. After he figured it out, the embarrassment in his heart was completely thrown away by Xia Lin. He took the knife, closed the evil eye of death, and walked to Rias and others calmly. Good evening. Rias senpai, Tasheng senpai, Haimjima senpai. And this one should be Kiba Yuyudo senpai. Xia Lin walked over and said hello very calmly. Facing Xia Lin's greetings, Rias was stunned for a moment. She thought Xia Lin would say something else, but she didn't expect to come over and say good evening. This kind of situation, why is it not the time to say goodbye? Hello, my name is Kiba Yuyudo. Kiba Yuyudo responded with a kind smile. As a celebrity in Kyo Academy, almost the whole school knew him, so he didn't feel strange when he was named by Xia Lin. Xia Lin reported her name, Humph. Taoju Kaniko snorted in dissatisfaction. In response to Xia Lin seeing this, Xia Lin shrugged helplessly and didn't care too much. I'm not doing well at night. Haimjima Aquino pretended to be aggrieved. Just now they were trying to help you, but they were misunderstood by you. Xia Lin-kun, they are very sad now. The aggrieved look of Haimjima Aquino made Xia Lin feel very speechless. If someone didn't know it, he really thought he had done something to her. Sorry. I'm in a state of play, and I don't like being meddled in the battle by others. Also, thank you very much, Xia Lin said so in fact. If Rias and her party were a little unreasonable, they would have completely disregarded Xia Lin's feelings and stole the lost devil. He gave up because of a warning, and chose to watch on the sidelines, and still intends to help in good faith. Xia Lin is not a person who does not distinguish between right and wrong, and he feels that he is worthy of his gratitude. The attitude is not particularly sincere, but I still forgive you. Probably not different from Kiba Yuyudo's judgment. Haimjima Aquino accepted it quickly, and then said with a charming but reproachful smile, But Xia Lin-kun, your memory is not very good. Didn't we agree to call each other's names? You are calling me Haimjima senpai again. You can just call me Aquino. This time it's 10 million, don't forget otherwise. As a girlfriend I will be sad, Xia Lin smiled. He didn't take Haimjima Aquino's confession seriously before, but he had to sigh that this Haimjima Aquino is really a fairy. Okay. Why does it feel like Kaniko's gaze has become even sharper? Xia Lin looked at Taoju Kaniko, but the other party turned his head arrogantly and didn't intend to pay attention to him. Good evening, Xia Lin, Rias said with burning eyes. I didn't expect to meet again under such circumstances. There is such a powerful swordsman among the freshmen. Zealin, you are hiding deep enough. I didn't expect you. Senpeido come out of what looks like a magic circle. Compared to me, Rias senpai, you are the real mystery. Xia Lin responded calmly. That's the teleportation array, Rias explained. Rias was a little surprised by Xia Lin's calm attitude. Thinking about it, the other party can have decent strength. And even came to hunt the lost devil at night. Maybe he has already come into contact with a part of the inner world. And he is not even unfamiliar with them. Teleportation array, sure enough, it sounds very tall. Hearing Ria's answer, Xia Lin pretended to be thoughtful. And then asked, there is a rumor in the school that Rias senpai is a nobleman from a European country. And there seems to be a variety of different places in Europe. Such a magic legend. Rias senpai doesn't come from a certain magic family, as she says in the novel. Right. In order to avoid some unnecessary explanations and unnecessary troubles, Xia Lin decided to pretend to be a novice who only knew little about it. Otherwise, many things are difficult to explain. Magic family, does Xia Lin think so? Rias showed a meaningful smile, if not. Xia Lin spreads her hands. The corner of Rias' mouth raised an elegant arc, and said, although it is a little different from what you guessed, but my origin is somewhat related to the magic family. In fact, most of the magic in the Devil High School world originated from the Devil lineage. So there is nothing wrong with Rias saying that. Xia Lin, can I take the liberty to ask you a question? Rias asked very politely, certainly. Xia Lin nodded simply. The corpse of the lost devil we encountered in the abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city. And the corpse of the lost devil we encountered in another forest. You must have killed them too. Although it was already confirmed that it was Xia Lin's actions, Rias decided to confirm it just in case. Those two monsters, yes I did, Xia Lin admitted. Can you tell me why you're killing these lost devils? That's the second question. Xia Lin said with a half smile. Boys who care too much are not likable. Rias made a rare joke. Xia Lin glanced at Rias and showed a smile, so. If I act a little more generous, will I have a chance to win the heart of my senior? Rias suddenly gave Hajime Aquino a playful look. Your real girlfriend is here. Hajime Aquino narrowed her eyes and said generously. It doesn't matter what I say if it's Rias, I agree 100%. Xia Lin didn't want to worry about this issue, and instead asked, Lost Devil. Is this the name of those monsters? Xia Lin asked knowingly. Since he intends to pretend to be a novice, he can't appear to be omniscient. Even if he has a general understanding of the division of forces in the Devil High School world, he needs to show a little curiosity, you don't know. This time it was Ria's turn to be dumbfounded. Xia Lin shrugged. Seeing the calm look on Xia Lin's face, Rias was startled. Does he really not understand, Mr. Zeal? Since you don't know this, how could you think of hunting the lost devil? Hajime Aquino asked Rias the doubts in her heart just one. And it can be regarded as bad luck and happen to meet. However, killing 3 in a row in one night is definitely not accidental. But deliberate hunting. If it's because of interest, do you believe it? Xia Lin said jokingly, do you think we should believe it? Rias stared at Xia Lin, Mr. Xia Lin. You may not know that these lost devils you hunted today were actually our targets. What? Hajime Aquino explained, I just didn't expect that if you took the lead, we could only follow behind you to clean up the mess you left behind. For this, Rias was not reconciled for a while. She even planned to settle accounts with you, speak up. Rias glared at Hajime Aquino. Hajime Aquino was not frightened, but said with a smile, just tell the truth, Rias. There is no need to hide this, Rias did not speak, apparently tacitly acquiescing to Hajime Aquino's words. Mr. Xia Lin, you know devil, right? Rias patiently began to explain. The devil in myths and legends is a disaster for the world. Of course, Xia Lin Nosh has the urge to roll his eyes. Aren't you all devil, right? Rias nodded. It's just that compared to legends, most devils are not so scary. In fact, they are similar to human society. They have their own order rabbited by the established rules, and are constrained by their own behavior. Not as evil as in the legend and unable to do anything wrong. However, the lost devil is a lawbreaker, and they are closer to the image of the legendary devil. That's the equivalent of a criminal among humans. Haimjima Aquino added. So I just punished the wicked and eliminated the evil. Xia Lin said with a smile. Rias shook her head and said, Actualithis is a very dangerous practice. An enemy of monsters, not just that. Rias sighed and continued. Aquino just said that the lost devil you hunted is actually our goal tonight. To be more precise, Kuwang Town is actually my territory under my jurisdiction. The lost devil in it is naturally left to me to deal with. And what you did tonight was to snatch my prey, which can be regarded as a provocation. It's also fortunate that you met you otherwise. You might be treated as an enemy by the owner of the territory. Yes, Xia Lin smiled undeniably. If it wasn't too accidental. Who knows what the situation would be if we met with you. However, Rias Senpai is lax in the management of your territory. Otherwise, there would be no chance of me taking the prey away. Xia Lin said casually, forehead. Rias did not expect to be questioned in turn by the other party, and fell into an embarrassing situation for a while. Because Xia Lin was right, it just hit her weak spot. Didn't Aquino just ask me why I came to hunt the lost devil? Xia Lin smiled and began to explain, actually. I saw some information on the internet, so I wanted to take a look and verify my strength by the way. Naturalized existence of the system cannot be exposed. But there is no need to hide some things. Xia Lin's words seem to be true, online. Rias looked strange. Isn't there a lot of news about missing people recently? There are a lot of people talking about it on the internet. So I also searched the internet and locked a few suspicious locations. But I didn't expect to be lucky enough to actually encounter these monsters. Haimjima Aquino opened her mouth in surprise. Is this too bold? Even Taoju Kaniko and Kiba Yuyudo felt the same way. Any luck? Ordinary people will not feel lucky when they encounter a monster like the Lost Devil. And it was 3 times. Even if Kaniko and Kiba didn't meet so many Lost Devils in one night. They would feel a little abnormal, however. Nowadays, the network is very developed. And the circulation of information on it is indeed fast and a lot. Moreover, Devil's activities in the human world are also very active today. And he will indeed find some ambiguous information on the internet. However, relying on these uncertain information alone, it's not just daring, it's simply killing it. It's a bold artist, Xia Lin said jokingly. Though these monsters look terrible, their strength is still within my range. What's more, this is the city I need to live in for the next 3 years of high school. I don't want the whole city. The atmosphere is in an atmosphere of panic. If these monsters are dealt with, it will be more stable. I didn't expect Xia Lin-kun to have such an idea. The eyes of Haimjima Aquino were full of brilliance. Too arrogant, Taoju Kaniko struck. Xia Lin smiled unconvincingly. In fact, Xia Lin's behavior that looks like death to others has also been considered. His own strength is determined by the system to be around low-class devil. And with his knowledge of the plot, he also has a general understanding of the strength range of Lost Devil, which is similar to himself. Therefore, if the difference in strength is not too big, even if Xia Lin is defeated at that time, it is not difficult to retreat completely. It was with this consideration that Xia Lin took the risk of choosing to hunt the Lost Devil as the mission target. It's just that Rias and others didn't know this. And in their eyes, Xia Lin's behavior was indeed a bit reckless. It's my mistake, Rias sighed and said apologetically. Because she neglected the security situation in the territory in order to select a suitable family member. And she had an unshirkable responsibility, by the way. I seem to have heard Kaniko call Xia Lin a big pervert. Haimjima Aquino said lightly with a smile on her face. She changed the subject and relieved Rias from the embarrassing situation. Is there something wrong between the two of you? Hearing this, Taoju Kaniko was stunned for a moment. He never thought that the topic would suddenly come to the middle. and immediately denied it. No. Some unpleasant experience. Zealin admitted it quite frankly. Oh, it looks really tricky. Haimjima Aquino covered her mouth and glanced back and forth between the two, as if she had discovered a new world. Taoju Kaniko glared at Zealin fiercely. The time is almost up, Mr. Zealin. Although I would like to explain more about our world with you. But our task is not yet completed. Being mentioned by Zealin as improper jurisdiction. Rias also remembered that there were still tasks to be handled tonight, suppressing her desire to continue talking with Zealin. Zealin-kun, then we are going to continue hunting the lost devil. Do you want to come with us? I just want to spend more time with Zealin-kun. I'm still not going, I've used up too much energy tonight. And I want to go back to rest early. Zealin shook his head and refused Haimjima Aquino's invitation. The task has been completed. There is no need for him to run around. Haimjima Aquino said disappointedly, oh, what a pity. All right, Rias nodded understandingly. Hunting 3 lost devils alone in one night was indeed very exhausting. By the way, Zealin, how much do you know about yourself? About you and about the world of gods and demons. The moment the magic circle lit up, Rias asked. Not much, just a state of ignorance. A lot of it is based on information on the internet, in fact. Today is the first time I have seen a legendary creature like the Lost Devil. Zealin's words were right. This was the first time the Lost Devil had been seen in reality. That's it, Rias was thoughtful. If you have time, can I trouble you to come to the Paranormal Research Club tomorrow? I can give you some more detailed answers. Rias makes an invitation, tomorrow, yes. Zealin thought for a while, then nodded in agreement. Have a good rest tonight, see you tomorrow, Zealin-kun. Haimjima Aquino waved playfully. Kiba Yuyudo is also politely saying goodbye, while Taoju Kaniko is ignoring him. Seeing Rias and a few others stepping onto the magic circle. Zealin also left, Rias, what do you think? How much truth is there in his words? Stepping out of the magic circle, Haimjima Aquino asked with a smile, half and half. Rias naturally cannot have 100% trust in a person she has only known for a long time. So she is skeptical about Zealin tonight. The Zealin I saw is almost completely different from the Zealin I've seen before. Haimjima Aquino responded, maybe the Zealin we saw tonight is what he really looks like. Zealin, who confessed to her, seemed a little jerky and shy. But Zealin on tonight's show was confident and calm. Facing the 2 Aura senior sisters, not only didn't panic, but appeared very calm and even teased. If it's not that the appearance has not changed, the breath has not changed. She suspects that it is 2 people. The most important thing is the powerful swordsmanship displayed, as well as the unknown magic eye, and the attitude of being unmoved in the face of crisis and blood, which made Rias and others pay attention. Rias also nodded in agreement. Haimjima Aquino continued, but it seems that he is not familiar with our world. And a lot of things are in a state of ignorance. It doesn't seem like a lie, this is of course after all. Zealin's understanding of Devil High School is only through the animation. And it is impossible to fully show all the information in the animation. Therefore, there is nothing false in Zealin's words. Rias chuckled and said, isn't this better? How cute is new, a little bit of cheating? No. You might be able to agree to her invitation and become her family after persuasion. Taoju Kaniko asked with an indifferent face. Minister, are you serious? We want to make Zealin a new servant. If I miss such a talent, I will regret it. Rias called softly, and then a bat appeared beside her. Her familiar, Rias instructed him. Go and help me collect specific information on Zealin. The familiar circled a few times, then flew away, disappearing into the darkness. I hope Zealin can live up to my expectations. Rias looked at the disappearing familiar and muttered to the night sky. Although she was thirsty for talents in her heart and eagerly wanted to take Zealin as her family, it did not mean that Rias would be carried away by impulse. Knowing the details of Zealin is a crucial part. Everything I saw tonight shows that Zealin is not a simple person. But whether Zealin's origin is not simple or his personal ability is extraordinary. It remains to be verified. Let's start, everyone. Our task for tonight has not been completed. Withdrawing her gaze, Rias smiled confidently. She put Xia Lin's affairs aside for the time being, and a powerful magic power surged up and down her body as she walked towards the lost devil not far away. Finally, it's time for a big fight. Taoju Kaniko waved his fist full of energy. She just met Xia Lin, which really made her in a bad mood. She urgently needs to find a target to vent. And these lost devils are just the best targets to vent their anger. Looks like this lost devil is going to be out of luck. Sensing that Taoju Kaniko's mood is not right, Hajime Aquino mourns for the lost devil. After parting with Rias and others, Zealin did not go home directly, but found a quiet and unoccupied place. "System, use my reward," Zealin ordered in a low voice. Whether to open the primary magic source, yes. Still following the usual steps, Zealin used the first reward the moment the voice fell. Zealin suddenly felt a strange airflow in her body. It didn't cause any harm to her body, and she seemed to have a pretty good feeling. Is this magic? Zealin invoked the operation of the magic in her body and gathered it into the palm of her hand. And a soft light slowly condensed. Then Zealin suddenly threw the light out. Boom. The magic group collided with the ground, blowing out a small pit the size of a slap. Ordinary power. Zealin shook her head, not particularly satisfied. An attack of this level, even with a low-class devil as an opponent, cannot cause much damage. Although magic power has been born in the body, there is no specific magic formula at this moment, and only the most superficial usage can be used. It's the magic bullet just now. The more magic power, the stronger the powers, however. Zealin, who had just opened the source of magic power, couldn't condense too much magic power, and the power was naturally very general. If I remember correctly, the use of magic power in Devil High School is actually determined by the user's heart. Zealin recalled that there was a scene in the Devil High School plot where the staff of the Supernatural Research Club conducted special training. And Hajime Aquino came to teach Hyodo Issei in this way. And then Hyodo Issei was enlightened and realized fashion collapse, such a killer move. However, the memory is a bit old, and Zealin can't remember the details clearly. You can try it. The only thing that can be confirmed is that this cultivation method is not dangerous. So Zealin can try it without hesitation. My swordsmanship. Zealin held the knife, closed her eyes, and started to meditate sword knife for a moment. What flashed in Zealin's mind was naturally the sword chi and sword brilliance described in those martial arts novels. Sharp, powerful. Zealin thought about how to make his sword stronger. The magic power flowed slowly and passed from the hand to the samurai sword. The attributes of the magic power began to change, and the samurai sword in Zealin's hand was covered with a faint glow. The next moment, Zealin swiped at the void, slashed horizontally and drew a semicircle. A bright sword light shot out, streaking across the night sky, cutting off all the surrounding trees. Looking at the fallen trees and the level stumps, the cracks, as if smeared by lasers, appear flat and smooth. Without relying on the demon eye of straight death to be able to cause such lethality. A smile flashed in Zealin's eyes. It's not bad, it's a little bit traversing. Zealin was satisfied with the damage caused by Giant Meng. Zealin was very sure that if he faced the one-horned devil again at this moment, he would be able to defeat him even if he didn't turn on the devil's eye. There are 2 more rewards. Zealin then used the basic magic training manual and added some information in his mind about how to cultivate to improve the magic level. This reward is not too important. Zealin practiced for a while, but the level of magic in the body did not improve significantly. So he put it aside after practicing. Next is the main event. The lottery is the most exciting time, because there are so many good things in it. As long as you get a little bit, you can take off. Will you consume a lottery chance? The system beep sounds. The lottery screen appeared in front of Zealin's eyes again, with all kinds of treasures hanging on it that made him covet. Let's start. Zealin took a deep breath and stared at the screen, watching the flashes on the screen keep beating. After flashing for nearly half a minute, Zealin gave a soft cry, "Stop." Congratulations to the host. Getting the Eye of Annihilation. Congratulations to the host. Getting the Eye of Annihilation. When the flash of the lottery screen stopped beating, the system beep sounded and landed on a reward pattern. The magic eye again. There was a strange look in Xia Lin's eyes, which was in line with his eyes. Last time I got the devil's eye of death. This time I got the eye of annihilation. Both are special magic eyes. Would you like to draw a magic eye next time? Thinking of this, Xia Lin shook her head with a laugh. Xia Lin also has a certain understanding of annihilation eye. He pondered the memory of the annihilation eye from his mind. The Eye of Annihilation is a magical eye from an anime called Legend of the Legendary Brave. Although there are not many scenes on the stage, but the performance is very brilliant. The holder of the Annihilator seems to have completely destroyed a fully armed magic army with the special ability of the Annihilation Eye. If I remember correctly, the ability of the Annihilation Eye is to devour mana and nullify the magic. Recalling the plot of Chuan Yang for a second, Xia Lin focused on his prize Eye of Annihilation. Item Annihilation Eye System Adaptation Light Grade, B. Effect: the prop itself has a certain boosting effect on the host's physical fitness and can devour magic power through contact. And the power transformed by the Annihilation Eye can be used to heal the body. And it can also be used to explosively improve physical fitness. Source: the legendary world of the legendary brave. Note: with the current strength of the host, it can absorb and transform the strongest blow of the ultimate class devil at most. Please don't kill yourself and provoke creatures above the ultimate class devil level. Has it been modified by the system again? Xia Lin saw the introduction of the Annihilation Eye and a glance at the Demon Eye of Straight Death, both with the suffix of the system adapting to the simplified version. Obviously, the original Annihilation Eye, like the Devil's Eye of Straight Death, has certain flaws and is supplemented by the system, making it more suitable for use. I even gave a reminder this time. It's very caring, the system. After the introduction of Eye of Annihilation, there is one more line than the Demon Eye of Straight Death. By the way, what will happen to me if I absorb an attack that exceeds the ultimate class devil level? Xia Lin asked. The body function collapses, or the body explodes to death. In fact, the strongest blow of the ultimate class devil level is already the limit that the host can withstand at present. Even if you receive the ultimate class devil's magic blow head-on, you will not be able to deal with it after that. It takes a long time to recover. So please don't try it out of curiosity. There are many rare words in the system, so please remind me. Xia Lin nodded knowingly. The strongest blow of the ultimate class devil. In the world of Devil High School, although the ultimate class devil can't compare to the top class like those beyond and Devil King, it also belongs to the power standing on the first level of the pyramid. In fact, in Devil's evaluation, ultimate class devil already belongs to the highest class. As for Devil King, even beyond, already belong to the outside world. The best among ultimate class devil can hold some high-level positions in Devil. Devil's rating is divided into low-class devil, middle-class devil, high-class devil, ultimate class devil. In Xia Lin's view, if the level of ultimate class devil is further subdivided based on strength, it can be further divided into 3 levels. The first order, ultimate class devil. Tier 2, Devil Cadre. The third order, the Quasi-Devil King. In the plot of Devil High School, Ten-Wing Fallen Angel, Kirkball should be roughly in the third order Quasi-Devil King, or between the second and third orders. Kirkball's ultimate move, the Huge Spear of Light, once made Rias feel dread and fear. Because of the giant spear of light condensed by Kirkball, its power is enough to destroy the entire town of Kuwang. In this way, even if the transformation degree of the Annihilation Eye is estimated to be the lowest, it is still the first order ultimate class devil strength. even if it cannot reach the level of destroying the city and destroying the land. The power to destroy the small half of Kuwang Town is definitely there. And Annihilation I can at least convert this level of attack. At least in the early stage of the plot. It is completely enough. All in all, Xia Lin is very satisfied with this reward. Like the magic eye of straight deaths. It is a kind of magic eye that is very powerful in actual combat. Even in the world of Devil High School, where gods and demons are infested with magic, the practicality of the Eye of Annihilation is far greater than that of the Demon Eye. Of course, this goes without saying. You can tell just by looking at the rating given by the system. The Eye of Death just gave a C-level rating, while the Annihilating Eye has a B-level rating. If you have another rewrite eye, you will be alive. Xia Lin couldn't help thinking in his heart. The rewriting eye is also a special magic eye from Legend of the Legendary Brave. Has the special ability to copy magic with just a glance. You can completely copy the opponent's magic and keep it for yourself. Even if the opponent releases incomplete magic, or even if the opponent stops casting half of the magic, the replica eye can still reproduce complete magic. Very easy to use and very pervert's ability. If you can make up another copy eye, Xia Lin can be called a magician's nemesis, in fact. Even if there is no rewriting eye, Xia Lin is like a nemesis when dealing with ordinary magicians at this moment. The Eye of Annihilation can absorb magic power and heal and augment the body, which can nullify most magic in melee combat. There is the help of the Eye of Straight Death. If the magician's physical skills are a little worse, once Xia Lin finds a chance to get close, it will definitely be over taking back his thoughts. Xia Lin opened the system panel and wanted to see his properties. Host Xia Lin Race Human Rating Samsung. Strength Assessment. The comprehensive strength of this world can reach the level of intermediate gods and demons. Abilities. Basic physical skills E. Basic swordsmanship E. Intuition D. Eyes of Death C. Swordsmanship E. Eyes of Annihilation B. Upgraded by 1 star. In addition to an additional skill bar of Annihilation Eyes on the system panel. The level has also risen by 1 star, however. Xia Lin was very sure that using the Eye of Annihilation, she would be able to fight even against a high-class devil like Rias. If Rias was approached by her, she could even defeat her. Of course, if Rias flew directly into the sky and directly robbed her of air dominance, Xia Lin guessed that she would have nothing to do with her. Isn't the temporary improvement level counted? Xia Lin shook her head, probably guessing the rules of the systematic review. Although the Annihilation Eye can absorb and transform magic power to improve itself, it cannot be stored for a long time, and can only be used to explode in battle. Xia Lin closed her eyes and opened them abruptly the next moment. In Xia Lin's eyes a red cross appeared, and this cross was composed of twisted strange runes. It seems a little weird and mysterious. The physical quality has indeed improved a lot. Xia Lin dashed forward sharply, and a gust of wind blew instantly. The speed and strength have been greatly improved. After a little test of the ability of the Annihilation Eye, Xia Lin closed the Annihilation Eye, gone back. The system's quest rewards have been obtained and practiced, and there is no need for Xia Lin to stay outside and then go home to rest. Was the next day Kuo Academy. Inside the classrooms of the Occult Research Club in the old school building. Rias-sama, this is all the information you told me to gather about Xia Lin. The demonized woman appeared from the magic circle, and then respectfully handed Rias, who was sitting at the desk, a stack of documents. Thanks for your hard work, Rias took the information. Then Rias-sama, I'll retire first. After handing over the materials to Rias, the demon retreated to the center of the classroom. Bode slightly stepped onto the red magic circle and disappeared into the classroom. After the familiar left, Rias picked up the document about Xia Lin and slowly flipped through it. As she flipped through the pages, a smile slowly emerged from the corners of Rias' mouth. It seems that the information about Xia Lin made Rias very satisfied. In the Occult Research Club, Haimjima Aquino made a pot of tea, placed it next to Rias and poured a cup for Rias. Hajime Aquino noticed the smile on Ria's face, apparently influenced by the information the familiar handed to Rias. Well, there's nothing wrong with the background. Rias put down the information, took a cup of tea and took a sip gracefully, narrowed her eyes slightly and then praised Aquino. The tea-making skills seem to have improved a bit recently. Oh yes. Hajime Aquino cupped her cheek with her right hand and said with a smile, after all, as a senior I have passed the minister's favor period. If I don't have any good skills, I will be abandoned by the minister. Rias said angrily, Kevin, if you are abandoned by me, you still have a large number of fans in the school who want to love you. You're not as popular as Rias. Hajime Aquino said with a smile that the two often joked. But of course this is just an interaction between the two. Rias, how is Xia Lin's situation? Putting away his smile, Hajime Aquino continued to focus on Xia Lin, which was what they were most concerned about these 2 days. There's not much of a problem with the background and origins. Rias put down the teacup, and her eyes fell on the document about Xia Lin again. Just 2 odd things, Rias said and pushed the information to Hajime Aquino. You first have a look at it yourself. Hajime Aquino nodded. Compared with Rias, her browsing speed was much faster. Many irrelevant information was skipped at a glance, and only some important information stayed for a few seconds. Soon Hajime Aquino dropped the material. There seems to be nothing wrong with it. Hajime Aquino said strangely, it's really normal. If it's just an ordinary person, there's really no problem. But it's not like the experience of a human who can easily kill a lost devil. Rias said, the information recorded in the document is Xia Lin's experience before coming to Kyo Academy. Although I can't say all of it, the inside is large and small. And most of Xia Lin's experiences have been investigated. However, according to the survey data, Xia Lin can only be regarded as an excellent teenager, better than most of his peers. Is it a question about his strength? Okay, Rias nodded. The thing about Xia Lin that Rias cared about most was the sharp swordsmanship that Kiba Yuyudo looked at. In Rias' cognition, human beings devil. And even her birth is the devil of the devil noble. And her strength is growing step by step. For example, Kiba Yuyuto in order to learn high-strength swordsmanship. But he worked hard and he never slackens. He takes time every day to practice his swordsmanship. However, there is no clear record of Xia Lin's superb swordsmanship, like overnight suddenly acquired. Rias' thinking is naturally not wrong. But this kind of thinking is only suitable for normal situations. But unfortunately, Xia Lin is definitely not a normal situation. He has a system and is a wall hanging. The two are completely incomparable. Although Xia Lin once went to learn Kendo, the gym he went to should only be used for ordinary people to keep fit. For ordinary people, it can play a certain role, but there is absolutely no way to achieve it. Xia Lin's height last night. Rias pondered for a while and said, the best comparison to it is Kiba Yuyudo. Kiba Yuyudo has worshipped a famous teacher, and that is a powerful swordsman who can be called a sword saint among human beings. It is precisely because of the careful teaching of famous teachers that Kiba Yuyudo has the current level of swordsmanship. Could it be the magic eye? Hajime Aquino thought for a moment. Rias was taken aback, recalling what happened yesterday. It seems that during the battle with the Lost Devil, Xia Lin has always opened the blue magic eye, and only closed it after defeating the Lost Devil and restored the original eyes. Remember that Xia Lin said yesterday that he went to find the Lost Devil in order to verify his strength. Rias nodded. I did say that. Hajime Aquino went on to say, the information we investigated did not record when Xia Lin awakened the magic eye. And we do not know what the function of Xia Lin's magic eye is. You mean to say? Rias frowned with some thoughts in her mind. Maybe he didn't wake up the magic eye not long ago. Maybe even recently. Maybe he didn't master the power of the magic eye until yesterday. The terrifying improvement in his swordsmanship may also be related to the awakening of the magic eye. Hajime Aquino expressed the speculation in his heart. There is indeed a possibility. Rias nodded in agreement. Magic Eye, this is actually even rarer than Sacred Gear. Its abilities are also strange. Among her dependents is a guy with a magic eye. And his ability is very powerful, which makes her a headache. If it is a magic eye, it is not a strange thing to raise Xia Lin, who had a certain kendo training, to a level that is enough to compete with Kiba Yuyudo. Rias nodded slightly. If it is because of the awakening of the Devil's Eye that he obtained extraordinary strength. Everything can be explained during the investigation. There was no information about the contact between Xia Lin and related personnel in the world of gods and demons. That is to say, it is very likely that Xia Lin groped and moved forward after awakening the demon eye. If so, this potential is enough to move Rias. Rias, then what's the second strange place? Hajime Aquino asked with a smile. Rias replied, Xia Lin was not an aboriginal in Kuwang Town, and his grades are in the original city. And it is not a problem to go to the best high school. And before that, it seems that he and Kuwang Academy are not the same. There is no intersection, but when I chose high school, I chose to stay away from the city where I have lived for many years, and chose the strange city of Kuwang Town, which makes me a little strange hearing this. Hajime Aquino suddenly covered her mouth and chuckled, and said if this is the case, maybe Kaniko-chan can answer you. Sitting on the sofa in the center of the classroom, Taoju Kauho was silently nibbling on snacks, suddenly raised his head and looked at the two of them with a bit of confusion. Kaniko, do you know why Xia Lin gave up the familiar city and chose to study at Kuo Academy? Taoju Kaniko was silent for a moment, and then said in a very harsh voice, because he is a big pervert. Forehead Arias was dumbfounded. She thought she would get a clear answer from Kaniko, but she didn't expect such a dumb answer. Kaniko, are you serious, minister? You must think about it carefully, and you must not be deceived by the guy at the job. Otherwise, the minister and Aquino seniors will be murdered by him. Taoju Kaniko said with a straight face. What about poison hands? Hajime Aquino smiled and looked like she was watching a good show. But even if someone wants to kill Rias and me, Kaniko-chan will definitely protect us, right? Okay. Taoju Kaniko clenched his fists like a demonstration. Kaniko-chan is right. Our Kuo Academy is a well-known aristocratic school. The quality of the girls in it is first class. For boys, this place is heaven. Hajime Aquino said with a teasing smile. And Rias stroked her forehead and asked Kaniko, is there any misunderstanding between you and Xia Lin? Yesterday, they found out that something was wrong between the two. But they were busy with the matter of getting lost in the devil's hunt. And they didn't think it was a big deal. So they didn't go into it, but now it seems that Kaniko has a deep relationship with Xia Lin. Prejudiced Taoju Kaniko was silent for a moment, then glanced at Hajime Aquino, hesitating to say anything. Not particularly wanting to answer, Kaniko-chan. Xia Lin-kun is very likely to become Ria's family and our companion in the future. If there is any contradiction between you that cannot be reconciled, Rias will be very embarrassed, Hajime Aquino persuaded. Taoju Kaniko's golden pupils flashed a struggling look. And then he said word by word, actually. Xia Lin confessed to me at noon on the day Xia Lin confessed to Aquino-senpai. And then he was rejected by me, Hajime Aquino. Rias, on the same day he confessed to Kaniko. So after confessing that one failed, they quickly found the next target. Rias and Hajime Aquino both widened their eyes slightly in surprise. No wonder Kaniko didn't deal with it after meeting Xia Lin. That's why Rias held her forehead looking speechless. After thinking about it, Rias decided to tell her own situation. She said with a little embarrassment, actually. Just yesterday Xia Lin also confessed to me. Sure enough, this big pervert. Taoju Kaniko said angrily. She was a little angry and depressed. And of course there was an inexplicable unpleasant feeling in her heart. This Xia Lin confessed that she did not speak alone. Even though Aquino-senpai agreed to confess. She even went to provoke Minister Rias. It seems that Xia Lin-kun's ambition is not ordinary. He wants to kill all the girls in our occult research club. Hajime Aquino didn't seem to care but joked instead. If he dares to do this, I will definitely beat him up. Taoju Kaniko said firmly. So Xia Lin's character is a bit flawed. Rias sighed and used a very conservative statement. More than a defect, Fortunate Lithas is a harem manga. And the concept of devil is also different from that of humans. If placed in the original world, if Xia Lin's behavior was exposed, it might be condemned as what it would look like. Social death is not a strange thing. Actually, it's not a big flaw. Shouldn't this be a normal thought for a boy of this age? Hajime Aquino explained with a smile. It would be strange if you had no idea about cute girls at this age. Rias don't deny our charm. Aquino, this is your real boyfriend, aren't you angry? Rias said jokingly, I don't care. It's better to digest it internally than to cheapen others. Isn't there a proverb called, fertile water does not flow to outsiders' fields? Hajime Aquino said generously. However, Zealin is too good at disguising. Rias was still a little worried. So she hadn't made up her mind, after all they met twice. And Zealin, who behaved differently, made her feel a little uneasy. Hajime Aquino explained with a smile, after all, he is a boy in adolescence and this is one of his talents. Aquino, this is the time to protect your little boyfriend. Rias laughed while I agreed to his confession. And I have to fulfill my responsibilities as a girlfriend. Hajime Aquino said insincerely. And then got serious, and this is also to safeguard the interests of the minister. There is no need to miss an excellent piece because of some minor shortcomings. Soon the minister will soon be an adult. But we have only a few chess pieces. Compared with other high-class devils, the disadvantage is obvious. If we participate in the rating game at that time, it will be very disadvantageous, that's right. Rias nodded helplessly but when she heard the word adult. An imperceptible loneliness flashed in her eyes. And then she quickly resumed her smile, however. The mood on Kaniko's side should also be considered. Minister, it doesn't matter what I say. If Xia Lin dares to mess around, I will definitely educate him with my fists and correct his twisted character. Having said that, Kaniko seemed to think that his idea was quite good, and nodded vigorously. Rias, look, Kaniko has no opinion either. Hajime Aquino said with a smile, and then looked at Taoju Kaniko, as if he could read people's hearts actually. Kaniko-chan actually wants Xia Lin to join us, right? Taoju Kaniko's pupils fluttered. And then he denied it, I don't. I just hope the minister can find a suitable piece to help the minister. After speaking, Taoju Kaniko stopped talking. Bowed his head slightly as if he was guilty, and ate snacks silently, aura. Kaniko's appearance of 300 taels of silver here made Hajime Aquino cover his mouth and chuckle. Rias laughed, and Kaniko was like a troubled child at the moment, however. In this case, at least it means that Kaniko will not have any resistance to Xia Lin. Although it was said that if Rias insisted, Kaniko would definitely only accept it. But Rias treats her family members as family members. And naturally, she has to take their emotions into consideration. In fact, the suspicion of Xia Lin was due to Rias' caution. Although she admires Xia Lin very much and hopes that Xia Lin can become her family, Rias also hopes that Xia Lin is a person of qualified character. Just like the Red Dragon Emperor in the original book, Rias has long determined that he has a sacred gear in his body, which is an excellent chess piece, but still did not send an invitation immediately, but sent Kaniko as a surveillance. In addition to protection, there is naturally observation, wanting to see what kind of person Hyaodu Ise is. Is it worth her to use a devil chess piece to reincarnate him? If it wasn't for the intervention of fallen angel Linali, I'm afraid the moment when Hyaodu Ise became devil would have to be delayed for a long time. In that case, let's invite Xia Lin. Rias made up her mind, and her eyes fell on the information on the table. Rias had no doubts about the information about Xia Lin that had been investigated. Even an ordinary powerful family in the human world, wanting to investigate and deal with a person's specific information and use the resources at hand, is an easy matter. And Rias not only has an elder brother Devil King, but also the heir of the Duke's family. Its status among Devil only a few people can match. The resources at hand and its vastness. Compared with the intelligence system in the human world. The intelligence system in the Devil world is obviously more powerful and can investigate more unknown intelligence. Therefore, Rias did not completely believe in Xia Lin, but in Devil's intelligence system. She believed in the authenticity of the information investigated by the Devil intelligence system. At this time, it should be about to end get out of class. Rias glanced at the time last night. They were busy with the Occult Research Club and completed the Crusade of the Lost Devil very well. So Rias specially allowed a few people to take time off. Aquino, this task is left to you. Rias smiled at Hajime Aquino, then leave it to me. Hajime Aquino smiled and nodded, then bowed slightly. Left the classroom of the Occult Research Club and headed towards the first-year school building. Jingle bell, the lunch break bell rang, get out of class. In the classroom, Sensei on the podium simply announced the end of the get out of class. Then packed up the textbooks and quickly left the classroom. After Sensei left, the graceful figure of Hajime Aquino appeared at the door of the classroom, which immediately attracted a lot of attention. Xia Lin, I'm here to find you. Hajime Aquino stood at the door with a smile on her face and glanced at Xia Lin, who was still standing in her seat. At this moment, Hajime Aquino does not have a hint of the powerful sense of oppression and enchanting charm of the royal sister, but is full of gentle colors, which fully matches her image of the big sister in the school. For a time, the atmosphere that had become noisy due to the end of get out of class suddenly became quiet. Almost everyone's eyes fell on Hajime Aquino and Xia Lin. Don't forget last night's promise, Xia Lin-kun. You haven't forgotten the agreement last night. Xia Lin-kun with a gentle smile. Hajime Aquino lightly parted her lips and said an ambiguous sentence. A word suddenly caused an uproar in the classroom. Everyone held their breaths and focused on the two of them. Hearing this, Xia Lin rolled his eyes, looked at Hajime Aquino and said, of course I didn't forget. I was going to find you guys, but you came here unexpectedly. Looks like Xia Lin-kun also cares about last night's promise. I'm very happy to be able to make Xia Lin-kun take it to heart. Hajime Aquino said with a light smile, with a happy smile on her face, as if a girl in Huai-chan met her lover. With a sweet smile in her smile. Xia Lin is speechless, this dramatist, let's go then. Xia Lin got up from her seat and walked to the door of the classroom. Xia Lin-kun probably hasn't eaten lunch yet. Hajime Aquino asked with concern, no. I plan to go to the cafeteria to deal with it after seeing you. Xia Lin shook his head, he glanced at Hajime Aquino. Ask knowingly, you came to see me after class. How can you have time for lunch, go to the cafeteria? It seems that Xia Lin's lunch is not ready. Hajime Aquino looked at Xia Lin with sparkling eyes and said if Xia Lin doesn't dislike it, let's dine in the Occult Research Club. We make a lot of bento every time, Hajime Aquino blinked. With a smile on her face said lightly also. It's a bento that I made with my own hands, really. That's troublesome. And I'm worried about what to have for lunch. Xia Lin said with a shrug. Xia Lin felt that after what happened yesterday, even if he didn't explain in detail, Hajime Aquino should understand that she was a fake girlfriend. And their relationship was not a normal romantic relationship at all. But what happened to this man's? Always intentionally or unintentionally lead the topic in an ambiguous direction. And even make bentos by yourself. Wouldn't you really take that day's confession seriously? Let's go, Xia Lin-kun, don't let Rias and the others wait. They are looking forward to your arrival. Hajime Aquino stood beside Xia Lin with a gentle smile. Then turned to lead the way. Xia Lin followed Hajime Aquino towards the old school building. After the two gradually walked away, they walked out of the first-year school building. The whole class suddenly roared like boiling hot water. That's Hajime Aquino-sama, isn't it? I'm not mistaken. I saw Mrs. Hajime Aquino so close, I'm so happy. What is the relationship between the elder sister and Zealin? Why did you come to our class to find him? I heard Senior Himejima Aquino call Xia Xia Lin just now. Is there something wrong with my ears? You heard right, I heard it too. Before Himejima Aquino arrived, everyone was still discussing their own topics. But when Himejima Aquino left, the topic was all on Xia Lin and Himejima Aquino. In the classroom, everyone discussed the scene just now. With such an intimate title, Zealin won't be taken by Senior Himejima Ignorite. I heard them say last night's appointment. The two of them were not together last night, right? Damn, it's too lucky. I really envy Zealin. The arms of Senpai must be very warm. I'm so envious. Don't think Zealin is so lewd. Do you think he is the same as you guys? Maybe it's just chatting together. Some girls don't believe it. This year's senior sister is so unfair. You already have so many admirers. Why are you still robbing our class boys? Some girls protested. Since Zealin has already owned a famous flower. How about us? The two boys leaned forward and said slyly that Zealin was usually welcomed by the girls in the class, which made them envious. Well, now he was snatched by Himejima Aquino, an opponent that all the girls in the class couldn't beat. Although they envy Zealin, they also have fewer competitors. The girls in the class are not as good as Himejima Aquino. Go away. You're not 1/10 as good-looking as Zealin's classmate. But I win. Zealin could guess that Himejima Aquino personally came to the classroom to find trouble for him. I am afraid that after he left, those classmates began to talk about the relationship between him and Himejima Aquino. No way after Alan adolescence. The relationship between men and women is the most topical thing. Not to mention Himejima Aquino is still the man of the school. Zealin can already imagine what kind of situation she will face when she returns to the classroom from the occult research club. It will definitely be haunted by those curious classmates and ask questions. You did it on purpose, Zealin glanced at Himejima Aquino, who was walking beside him. The corner of the woman's mouth was slightly raised, with a fox-like smile, obviously in a good mood. What did Zealin say? Why can't I understand it? Himejima Aquino blinked innocently. Zealin shook her head and didn't delve into this topic. After all, it's not too much. It's just that it's relatively troublesome. He should have been entangled in the end by those curious classmates. In front is the activity room of the Occult Research Club, led by Himejima Aquino. The two soon came to the area of the old school building. Along the way, Himejima Aquino flirted with Zealin intentionally or unintentionally. But Zealin responded without a word, looking a little cold. Give Himejima Aquino a big blow, of course. If Himejima Aquino's ambiguous attitude before coming to Q Academy. Zealin may be a little flattered and happy, but now he was already mentally prepared. So he didn't have much mood swings. What's more, Himejima Aquino's half-truth attitude made Zealin really not interested in dealing with it. Besides, both of them are actresses. So don't pretend to be pure. Come in. At the door of the Occult Research Club, Himejima Aquino knocked on the doors, and Rias' voice came from inside. Both Zealin and Himejima Aquino opened the door and walked in. Welcome to the Occult Research Club, Zealin. Rias stood up from her desk seat and said with a smile, Please sit down. And Taoju Kaniko and Kiba Yuyudo also nodded to Zealin to show their welcome. Zealin nodded with a smile and responded, after walking in. Zealin looked at the layout of the entire activity room with interest. This was one of the most important scenes in the plot. And he was also here for the first time. Zealin, do you have any thoughts on our activity room? Seeing Zealin's gaze on the layout of the activity room, Rias smiled and asked, I originally thought that your occult research club, a department dominated by girls, should be bright and simple. Even if it's not a girly arrangement. I didn't expect it to be such a weird style full of dark tones. Zealin responded and made a random excuse, after all. She couldn't say something like, I watched the anime many times before. And it was the first time I saw the real thing. So I subconsciously looked at it a few more times. Hearing this, Rias and Hajime Akino looked at each other and smiled, and then looked at Taoju Kaniko and Kiba Yuyudo. Of course it is afterwards. Rias showed a mysterious smile and took the lead in saying, "Because we are devil, asterisk I'm Rias Gremory, I'm a devil. Please give me some advice." There was a mysterious and confident smile on the corner of Ria's mouth, and she bowed slightly to Xia Lin, as if she was doing a lady's manner next moment. Snapped. A sound like a fan opening sounded inside the Occult Research Club. Following this voice behind Rias, a pair of jet black wings like bat wings spread rapidly. The dark wings and blood-red hair made Rias look alluring and beautiful. Followed by Taoju Kaniko also stood up from the sofa, bent over to Zealin and said, "I'm Taoju Kaniko. And I'm also a devil, please give me more advice." The same is true for Kiba Yuyudo, "I'm Kiba Yuyud. And I'm also a devil, please give me more advice." Hajime Akino smiled charmingly, "I don't need to introduce myself. Like Rias and the others, I am also a devil." The three of them said theses if to prove their identities. And like Rias, they made the same movements as Rias, and opened the wings behind them with the same pop. After revealing their identities, the four of them all looked at Xia Lin curiously, especially Hajime Akino's expression with a playful look, wanting to see how he would react. "Is this a special welcome ceremony for your occult research club?" Xia Lin glanced at the four of them indifferently, Rias, Hajime Akino's Kiba Yuyudo, Taoju Kaniko. The four of them saw a kind of surprise and helplessness in each other's eyes. Xia Lin's attitude completely exceeded their expectations. You could even say the exact opposite. Hajime Akino said dissatisfiedly, "It's too peaceful. Indeed, it's too calm. And it doesn't fit the scene I imagined at all." Rias looked at Xia Lin, wanting to see the slightest surprise on Xia Lin's face. But unfortunately, after observing for a few seconds, she realized that the other party was really calm. "It's too quiet." Taoju Kaniko's golden pupils do not fluctuate, and they feel the same as the two, "It's too quiet." Kiba Yuyudo just finds it fun to repeat. "Okay, are you repeaters? Or what kind of attitude should I show?" Xia Lin said with a shrug, "In my expectation, Xia Lin. After seeing our real appearance, if not scared, at least you should feel a little shocked, but." Rias sighed in shock, "Ah, you are devil. It's terrible, it's terrible." Xia Lin's face suddenly changed, showing a look of horror. Then hugged Hajime Akino, who was standing beside him, and hugged him tightly like a pillar. Hajime Akino was caught off guard by Xia Lin's action, and stood there dumbfounded, her body stiffened. And she was in a panic, feeling Xia Lin's embrace and the breath of being close at hand. Hajime Akino's face couldn't help but be covered with a layer of pale pink. Hajime Akino is the first time to have such close contact with a boy. Although Hajime Akino often flirts with Xia Lin and looks a little coquettish, but it is actually her disguise. She treats boys politely and maintains an attitude of refusing others thousands of miles away. "Akino, your body is very soft," Xia Lin said in an inaudible voice in Hajime Akino's ear. That this time taking advantage of her is a reward for her molesting herself along the way. Hearing Xia Lin's words, Hajime Akino is not that kind of ignorant little girl. After feeling Xia Lin's dishonest actions, she quickly suppressed the panic in her heart, and instead wanted to regain her initiative. "Xia Lin-kun, are you holding enough? If not, you can continue." The smile on Hajime Akino's face grew softer, but there was a dangerous aura all over him. Hearing this, Xia Lin quickly let go of Hajime Akino. "Rias-senpai, is this the effect you want to see?" The terrified look on Xia Lin's face immediately subsided and returned to a dull look, as if nothing was done by him just now. Hajime Akino glanced at Xia Lin angrily. This person is really after hugging her. He still looked like nothing was wrong, too fake. Taoju Kaniko is a rare export evaluation. You make me feel that the introduction just now is superfluous. Rias was very weak and said in frustration. According to Ria's original plan, Xia Lin was shocked by showing her identity at the beginning. then taking advantage of the time when Xia Lin was shocked. He told Xia Lin about Devil's background, arousing his curiosity. Then take the opportunity to make an invitation. At this time, Xia Lin has a high chance of agreeing on the spot. What a perfect ending, but Rias looked at Xia Lin with some resentment. Xia Lin's attitude was completely opposite to what she expected, completely disrupting her plan. Xia Lin, I'm very curious. After seeing our true attitude for the first time and knowing our identity, it is impossible for ordinary people to be as calm as you. Why? Rias asked curiously. I actually already knew who you were. Xia Lin naturally couldn't say that, Occult Research Club. It sounds like a name full of second grade. Coupled with your devil wings that seem to be a little bit of a problem. No matter how you look at it, you look like a COS fan. Where would you be shocked? At most, it's just that treat you as a middle schooler. Xia Lin struck of. Hajime Aquino couldn't help laughing out loud. She bent down and said, haha, Rias. It's the first time you've been treated as a middle schooler. How do you feel? Rias also felt very depressed. It's not the second disease, it's the real devil. Taoju Kaniko was dissatisfied with Xia Lin's evaluation and emphasized it with a straight face. Well, it's devil. Xia Lin spread her hands. Besides, I even saw monsters like the lost devil last night. If I didn't prepare myself, I would be too ignorant to be surprised, Mr. Zealin. But why do I feel like you already know our identities in advance? Hajime Aquino looked at Xia Lin with interest. In fact, it was not only Rias, but she also felt strange. Xia Lin's attitude was too calm. So calm that she seemed to have guessed that they were devil. What surprised Rias and others was that Xia Lin didn't hide it and nodded. I did guess a little. Didn't you say last night that you are a person who specializes in hunting the lost devil? And the lost devil belongs to the criminals in the devil. Xia Lin shrugged. Then it's easy to guess your identities. Although I can't find specific information on the internet. It's nothing more than those kinds of identities. According to the myths and legends, the exorcist of the human camp is the class. Angel from the gods' camp and devil from the devil camp. I can understand both exorcist and angel. But why guess devil? Isn't this cannibalism? Rias was curious how Xia Lin guessed. Xia Lin shrugged and said, it's very simple territorial awareness. While saying that, Xia Lin glanced at Rias. Xia Lin continued, besides, it can also be inferred by analogy with the situation in human society. In human society, fugitives from their own countries are generally dealt with by people from their own countries. Similarly in devil, of course, the criminals must be solved by the devil himself, which can be regarded as a matter of principle. In my speculation, it is actually more likely that you are devil than the other two. Rias nodded. She said something similar to Xia Lin yesterday. And Kuwang Town belongs to her territory. It is natural for you to be responsible for your own things. And it is not your turn to interfere. The same is true of lost devil's handling. Sounds reasonable. Hajime Aquino nodded in admiration, glanced at Xia Lin, and seemed to have forgotten the frivolous thing about Xia Lin just now. I didn't expect Xia Lin to be a smart player. As long as you have a bit of logic, you can guess a little bit. Xia Lin said indifferently. Hajime Aquino gasped in his throat. Why do you feel that Xia Lin's words sound so inappropriate? What is a bit of logic? Isn't this turning a corner and saying that I have no brains? Thinking like this, Hajime Aquino gave Xia Lin a malicious look. But Xia Lin turned a blind eye, which made her sulky again. It seems that I still take it for granted. If I hadn't revealed a little bit of information yesterday, maybe I could see Xia Lin's shocked appearance today. Rias said with a smile. Xia Lin shrugged and didn't answer. Even if you didn't say anything yesterday, I knew you were devil, who told me to have known you already. However, Xia Lin, know that you are mentally prepared. The next conversation will be easier. You should be able to take it very quickly. Rias continued. Although Xia Lin didn't show what she expected and was surprised by the identity of the four devils, It's just that Xia Lin's indifferent attitude and confident thinking made her even more satisfied. The person she likes must be as good as possible, obviously. Xia Lin's performance is in line with the candidate in her mind. Just call me Xia Lin, it doesn't need to be so formal. Xia Lin nodded said with a smile, and directly shortened the distance between the two by addressing them. Well, I'll just call you Xia Lin. You can call me Rias just like Aquino. Rias did not refuse. And Xia Lin's close attitude made her even happier. Okay, Rias. Xia Lin did not express her embarrassment to Hajime Aquino at that time, but spoke easily and called Rias by her name. Please come over today. In addition to yesterday's agreement, there is actually another thing I want to tell you. Hearing this, Xia Lin raised her eyes and looked at Rias curiously. Rias smiled mysteriously, without explaining what the other thing was, but instead said, however, before that, let's settle the unfinished business of yesterday. Yesterday's agreement was also about gods and demons. Xia Lin nodded and finally walked to the sofa in the center of the classroom and sat down, while Taoju Kaniko sat across from him frowning at him. Xia Lin smiled helplessly and didn't start talking. Please use tea after a while. Hajime Aquino brought out a pot of tea, poured a cup for Xia Lin, and the fragrance filled the air. Nice tea, Xia Lin appreciated it. But it was specially brought out to welcome you. Hajime Aquino said with a smile, this is for you. Suddenly, a snack in Kaniko-chan's hand was pushed in front of Xia Lin, and then she returned to her expressionless face. Ignoring Xia Lin, thanks Xia Lin. Hajime Aquino covered her mouth with a chuckle, put the tray aside and walked over to Rias. Xia Lin, you already know that devil exists in this world. Next, I want to tell you about our world in general. Rias smiled, and then began to talk about the background of the mythical world. This world is not as simple as it seems. In addition to humans, there are all kinds of other intelligent creatures. And most of these intelligent creatures are creatures that exist in human fantasy and legends. And some even creatures that humans don't know about. Like Rias, you guys, Xia Lin asked back with a smile, yes. We are only a part of it. There are more mythical creatures, such as angel, and dragons, Rias spoke slowly, spreading out the background of the mythical world. Xia Lin listened thoughtfully, not too serious after all. He didn't know how many times he had read these things. However, compared to the one in the anime, the mythical world described by Rias must be more detailed. After all, the other party is a devil nobleman. The origin of devil and angel is biblical mythology. And most of what Rias tells is naturally the content of biblical mythology. From the creation myth of the only gods, to the three-way war hundreds of years ago, and then to the current situation of the modern devil. Finally, it falls on the sacred gear holder and the awakened eyes. Oh. I didn't expect that devil's current situation would be like this. Xia Lin said with interest. Since the new 4 devil kings came to power, they have used resolute means to rectify devil's ethos and make devil change his old style. Now it's not what it used to be, Rias said slightly proudly. Devil who works hard every day still needs to be rated according to the level of work. Which is really interesting, Xia Lin's eyes fell. In this case, can I also hire you to work for me? The theory is naturally okay, but... Rias smiled sweetly and sold out, but what? Xia Lin asked. Xia Lin, what's your opinion on devil? Rias' smile narrowed, and her expression took on a trace of seriousness. If it's what you say, devil is actually pretty good. Xia Lin said so. Hajime Aquino held her cheeks, showing a shy look like a little daughter. It seems that Xia Lin-kun doesn't hate devil. I'm so happy. Xia Lin rolled her eyes. You were a showman. And you've even acted. What if I wanted to invite you to be one of us? After Rias finished speaking, stared at Xia Lin closely, with a hint of hope in her eyes, eager to get the answer she wanted from his mouth. When the words fell, not only Rias, but also the eyes of the other 3 fell on Xia Lin tightly. For a time, the originally cheerful atmosphere took on a sense of urgency. Xia Lin smiled meaningfully, then shook her head. Sorry, I refuse. It's really straightforward to refuse. This will hurt our minister's heart, right? Hajime Aquino froze for a moment, then laughed and joked. Rias was a little surprised. He didn't seem to expect that Xia Lin would refuse so bluntly. At least in her expectation, Xia Lin should not refuse. Shouldn't a teenager at this age be full of yearning for these myths and magic? If you send an invitation yourself, even if the other party does not agree on the spot, he should choose to consider it, however. Xia Lin's straightforward attitude really made Rias feel a little disappointed. I don't think Rias is someone who gets hit so easily. Xia Lin smiled and shook her head. I'm not that vulnerable. Rias glanced at Hajime Aquino and shook her head and said, Just I wonder why did Xia Lin refuse so quickly? Any reason? I still want to hear why you refused. Rias insisted that she wanted to know her to be more precise. Why Xia Lin refused so succinctly and without delay. Rias looked at Xia Lin's face. At first she thought that Xia Lin might be trying to escape. But after a while Rias was disappointed. And the other party seemed to really have no interest in joining them. Rias said that she was not vulnerable. But she still felt very disappointed, you know. When she invited the three of Kaniko to be her family in the past, there were not so many twists and turns. It's just the previous sentence, be my family. In the future I just live for me and similar words. And then everyone happily agreed and became a family. But how come Xia Lin can't work here? Rias was puzzled. It seems that her previous cognition is often broken with Xia Lin. It was like that last night, it's still the same today. Successive blows. Hearing this, Xia Lin smiled indifferently, then rubbed the teacup with her fingers lightly and sighed. Rias, your invitation is too abrupt. Let's not say that the comments about devil are all your own words. I have no basis to judge the truth of what you said. What's more, I suddenly gave up my identity as a human and changed my race to be a devil. Xia Lin said apologetically, I really can't do it. After hearing Xia Lin's words, Rias nodded and said apologetically, I didn't think about it carefully, however. You can rest assured that I swear in Gremory's name that what I said just now is not false. And there is nothing wrong with it. The ingredients of deception. Rias is very proud of her noble name. And being able to let her use the word Gremory shows her determination. Let's not talk about true or false. Xia Lin shook his head with a smile. He naturally knew that what Rias said was true, but if Rias had invited him a few days ago before the system was loaded, Xia Lin would definitely say nothing and nodded in agreement. But nowadays, Xia Lin doesn't have any special thoughts about Rias' invitation. Now, Xia Lin just needs to find a suitable excuse to prevaricate the past. Xia Lin suddenly laughed playfully and in a relaxed tone said jokingly, Rias, you said that you were just talking. And you wanted me to join Yaob, your dependent. And work for you. It's a little too sloppy. Hearing this, Ria's face twitched involuntarily. She didn't think that Xia Lin, who was very serious before, suddenly became frivolous, which made her feel uncomfortable all of a sudden. Ara, so Xia Lin-kun wants benefits. Hajime Aquino opened her mouth with a chuckle. Take advantage of the fire. Taoju Kaniko gave Xia Lin a disdainful look. Xia Lin rolled her eyes. If you don't know how to use idioms, don't use themake. However, Rias was not angry. Instead, she was very happy that Xia Lin could put forward such conditions. She said, compared with humans, devils' innate conditions are much better than humans. Xia Lin, judging from your performance yesterday, your strength is probably at the level of middle-class devil. If you can fuse devil pieces and become my servant, the hidden potential in your body will also be pulled out. I don't know if you will be able to reach the level of high-class devil by then, but your strength will definitely increase a lot. Cut. For people like them, the improvement of strength is undoubtedly a very attractive condition. Judging from Xia Lin's words of verifying strength last night, the improvement in strength should be attractive to him. Hearing this, Xia Lin laughed without saying a word. Not only that, Hajime Aquino continued in a seductive tone from the side. Compared with humans, being a devil has many advantages, just like the immortality that humans seek. and it can be easily achieved. Even a low-class devil has a lifespan of at least 1,000 years, while a middle-class devil, high-class devil, and even an ultimate-class devil have an infinite lifespan. Hamjima Aquino walked to Xia Lin's side, bent down gently. Side like blue in Xia Lin's ear, and said softly, "We already know that you have confessed everything to Kaniko-chan and Rias." On Xia Lin's face twitched slightly, although he didn't care much about this matter. But being exposed in public still made him feel embarrassed. "This should have nothing to do with letting me join you." Xia Lin shook his head and said. The warm breath in his ear made him a little uncomfortable. "If you become one of us, don't you have a chance?" Hamjima Aquino's words were like devil's temptation. "Maybe Kaniko-chan and Rias will be moved by you." "I won't give you a chance." Seeing the look in Xia Lin's past, Taoju Kaniko said coldly. "Kaniko-chan don't say that anything is possible. Maybe you will accept Xia Lin-kun at that time." Hamjima Aquino smiled and said, "What do you think?" Taoju Kaniko snorted lightly, not wanting to talk to Hamjima Aquino, but glanced at Xia Lin. Then quickly looked away. "Long life. Increase in strength. Maybe there are beauties for you to hug left and right." "Xia Lin, are you really not thinking about it?" Hamjima Aquino's smiling face was full of temptation. "You didn't lie to me, did you?" "Of course if I lie to you, it won't do any good and I will be blamed by Rias." Hearing this, Xia Lin's calm face finally shook, showing a longing look, and his eyes continued to linger on Rias, Hamjima Aquino, and Taoju Konko with covetousness in their eyes. Seeing this, Rias looked at Hamjima Aquino with admiration, and couldn't help but sigh that she was her best friend to deal with the little boy. "Now you should promise, right?" There was a smile on the corner of Ria's mouth, looking at Xia Lin, waiting for his answer. "But sorry, I still refuse." Just the next moment, the longing on Xia Lin's face was swept away, replaced by the indifference and determination before. Hamjima Aquino's smiling cheeks froze suddenly, and he almost didn't ask questions directly. Rias couldn't help breathing too fast and almost vomited blood. Both of them looked at Xia Lin with some resentment. "You said that since you want to refuse. Why are you acting so eager? Made us think you were going to agree. Let us look forward to it in vain, Mr. Xia Lin, you are very bad. You obviously don't agree. Why do you act like you agrees?" Hamjima Aquino said dissatisfiedly. "Isn't this afraid of hitting you? Wouldn't it be a bit inhumane if you were indifferent to the benefits you said?" Xia Lin shrugged with a smile. Hamjima Aquino rolled her eyes at Xia Lin and became even more angry. "Isn't this even more shocking? I thought her persuasion would be effective." So Xia Lin couldn't refuse, so she agreed. "Who knows that this guy doesn't care? He doesn't care at all." The shaky look she showed just now was all pretending to tease her. Rias was quite speechless. She thought she had a certain understanding of Xia Lin, but found that she still didn't understand it at all. This guy doesn't play his cards at all. Rias is confident in her own charm. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as she speaks, 99% of the boys in Q Academy will agree to her without hesitation. Not proud, this is a fact. Ria's popularity in Q Academy is too high. It's the kind of powerful popularity and charm that can bend her to a degree even if it's a girl. However, she found that these were of no use to Xia Lin at all. If it was a different person, even a girl, as long as she asked, the other party would 100% agree. However, facing Xia Lin, Rias really felt a sense of powerlessness right now. It's obviously already the best conditions. But I even sacrificed the minister and Kaniko. Isn't Xia Lin a little tempted? Hamjima Aquino said bitterly. "Of course I'm tempted." Xia Lin shook her head and continued. "It's just that we have an old saying there." "What?" Not only Hamjima Aquino, but also Rias and Taoju Kaniko looked at Xia Lin curiously. "A pie falls from the sky, it's either a trap or a trap." Rias and Hamjima Aquino. The two were almost out of breath. "After we have said so much, are you still full of vigilance? The benefits you mentioned are too tempting. It makes people feel very unreal, and even if it is true, it makes it difficult for me to accept." Xia Lin said so. "Xia Lin, Rias spoke, wanting to continue persuading. Needless to say, Rias, although I don't know why you are so persistent in wanting me to be a reincarnated devil, it is impossible for me to promise you. Zealin's attitude is very firm, and his eyes are clear and firm, making people feel his determination. Rias stared at Zealin for a long time, then sighed and said apologetically, "Okay, I see. Sorry, Zealin, I was too abrupt today." Rias has been looking for new members of her family recently, and she found such a suitable person, so she naturally wanted to quickly bring him under her command. It's just that I didn't expect the other party to be so calm and unimpressed. Disadvantage of apprenticeship. It really made Rias feel very disappointed. It's okay, today is also a new experience for me. Thank you for letting me know that there are so many wonderful things in this world. Zealin smiled and said politely, "Although I was rejected by you today, I will not give up." After Rias was lost, she quickly adjusted her mentality, revealing determination in her eyes. Zealin was also speechless, wondering why Rias was so persistent. Should he be happy? After all, such a heroine valued him so much. However, Zealin, I also want to ask how about joining our society. This Zealin was embarrassed. Zealin, don't refuse this time. If you really refuse, Rias will really cry. Harmless Aquino pretended to be very sad and said pleadingly. Compared with the changeable nature of Harmless Aquino, Rias looked at Zealin with a burning gaze. Tauju Kaniko's golden pupils also fell on Zealin. Waiting for his answer, ding, the main quest is on. While Zealin was hesitating, the cold mechanical sound of the system suddenly sounded. Zealin's eyes narrowed slightly, unexpectedly triggering a new mission at this time. The main quest is being generated, please wait. Task generation, the task has been generated. Main quest 1, join the Occult Research Club. Mission requirements, become a member of the Occult Research Club. Mission difficulty, easy. Mission reward, a random skill card. Looking at the new task, Zealin was stunned for a moment, not expecting such a simple task. He was hesitant to agree to Ria's request, just no but now. It seems that he doesn't need to struggle. Zealin. Seeing that Zealin was suddenly silent, after everyone waited for a while, Harmless Aquino whispered, "Have you thought about it?" Zealin nodded, "I can agree, but I have a request." Hearing this, Ria's eyes suddenly flashed with a smile of joy, and she asked, "What is the requirement?" "I may be a ghost member, and I don't have much time to participate in club activities," Zealin said helplessly. Zealin has always belonged to the homecoming department. Even when he arrived at Kuo Academy, he had no intention of joining the club, Zealin in fact. The activities of the Occult Research Club are very different from ordinary department activities. Guest is not this nonsensical, even if Zealin doesn't know the plot. But Rias has already revealed her identity. Can a group of devils' activities still be the same as ordinary people? The answer is obviously no. It's like yesterday's hunt for the lost devil. But it's just one of the club activities. Rias explained, and these club activities, you also have many opportunities to get training and verify your strength. Zealin still shook her head to improve his strength. He has systematic help, and it must be thousands of times more efficient than any club activity. If I have time, I can participate. But you can't force me to participate. Zealin did not refuse 100%. Okay, I won't force you on this. Rias nodded. Zealin was able to agree to join the Occult Research Club was a surprise. There was no need to force too much. What's more, with the relationship of the Occult Research Club, wouldn't it be easy for Zealin to change his point of view? Thinking of this, Rias couldn't help but smile. Zealin. This is an application for admission, please fill it out. After Zealin agreed to join the Occult Research Club, Rias took out 2 applications for admission from the drawer of her desk and gave them to Zealin. It is good, Zealin took it, filled in the information above, and handed it back to Rias. Now Zealin, you are a member of our paranormal research, Harmless Aquino said with a smile. Rias happily accepted the application for admission, and then said welcome to the Occult Research Club Xia Lin. There shouldn't be any special welcome ceremony this time. Xia Lin said jokingly, ding. Main quest, joining the Occult Research Club has been completed. The rewards are being distributed, please check. Get a random skill card, use or not, when the handover of the application for admission is completed. The main task is officially completed, and the system prompt sounds, a skill card for the reward. Xia Lin is still looking forward to it, especially this kind of prize with a slight chance. Xia Lin glanced at Rias and the others, and then silently recited the word use in her heart. Because it is only a skill card, it will not cause any special changes. So Xia Lin can't wait to open the reward. Congratulations, got the skill card Blade of Light. Xia Lin clicked on the introduction of Blade of Light. Item Blade of Light skill card quality, C. Effect grants the power of the light attribute and increases the attack power by 50%. The host level is 7-star and below, and it is valid for all levels. System. What does it mean to be valid for all levels of 7 stars and below? Xia Lin noticed this sentence before 7 stars. This skill would 100% play a role in improving strength. Above 7 stars, the effect of the improvement will be weakened. The system responds, okay, Xia Lin nodded after all. The content of the task is too simple. Xia Lin did not expect to be able to open anything advanced. However, the ability to open a C-level skill card has clearly exceeded Xia Lin's expectations. Satisfy him, it's just the power of the light attribute. Xia Lin glanced at Rias and the others intentionally or unintentionally. This is the complete opposite of Devil's Path. Xia Lin shook her head secretly, of course. These are not big things, Sanua. The light attribute is incidental, on the contrary. The 50% increase in attack power is the biggest highlight of this skill, and it is valid for all levels under 7 stars. It can be said that before 7 stars, his actual combat strength suddenly increased by half. 7 stars if there is no miscalculation. At least it is at the level of transcendency or even higher. Just don't be too cool. Okay, Xia Lin-kun, after so long you must be hungry. Now you can taste the bento I made. Although Xia Lin did not agree to become a devil, joining the Occult Research Club was a result that satisfied Rias and others. Next, Xia Lin ate lunch at the Occult Research Club, then said goodbye and went back to the classroom. It's really difficult, Xia Lin-kun, after Xia Lin left. Hajime Aquino packed up the tableware and sat on the sofa very weakly, obviously dealing with Xia Lin before leaving a certain shadow. No matter how you say it, you shouldn't use the word difficult. Rias smiled helplessly. Aquino-senpai has met an opponent as a bystander. Taoju Kaniko could see more clearly than Hajime Aquino and Rias. There was no fluctuation in the golden pupils, but it sounded like a joke. She is also a family member of Rias and gets along with Hajime Aquino day and night. But she understands how shrewd Hajime Aquino is. Kaniko-chan was too quiet just now. If Kaniko-chan could talk a little more, maybe the result would be different. Hajime Aquino said with a smile, well. Taoju Kaniko felt a little remorse for not helping Rias just now. It's just that she really doesn't know what to say to Xia Lin now. After all, Taoju Kaniko is a 3 nun herself, and taciturnity is her essential characteristic. By the way, Aina, come to the student council with me later. Rias gently picked up Xia Lin's application for admission and said, as a new member of the Occult Research Club joins, it is natural to report to Sona. Minister, are you going to take the oath of sovereignty? Hajime Aquino said teasingly. Where can you say so seriously? It's just that new members who join the club need to report to the student union. Rias said with a smile. If Xia Lin agreed to become her dependent, she naturally didn't need to do anything. But the current situation is that Xia Lin agreed to join the ministry, but did not agree to become a dependent. Xia Lin's excellence must not be hidden, and the student council should also notice him at that time. Rias didn't think that in Shitori Sona's eyes, Xia Lin would be spared. She and Shitori Sona are both best friends and rivals. Faced with a character as good as Xia Lin who has not become a dependent, Shitori Sona will definitely come to compete next. Rias and Hajime Aquino left the old school building and went to the office of the student council. Rias-sama on the way to the student council. The two met Genra Tsubaki. This is Shitori Sona's right-hand man and the Queen of Devil's Pieces. After seeing Rias, Genra Chunji bowed gently and then greeted respectfully. Tsubaki, by the way, is Sona in the student council. Rias asked, Master is resting in the student council. Is Rias-sama looking for Master for something? Something. Rias nodded. Please follow me. Genra Chunji led the way. And then the three came to the door of the student union and knocked on the door. Please come in. From inside came the voice of Shitori Sona, Rias. It's rare to come to the student council at this time. What's the matter? Shitori Sona, wearing glasses, was sitting at the student council desk with a stack of papers she was busy working on. Shitori Sona was a little surprised after seeing the visitor. A new member of my club has joined. So of course I have to report to you, the student master. Rias walked over to Shitori Sona and handed over the application for admission. New members. Shitori Sona was stunned when she heard the words. Could it be that you have found a new relative? Occult Research Club. Shitori Sona naturally knows that. Unlike other clubs, this club is never open to outside. It is Rias' club alone. Everyone in the club is also Rias' family. Same as her student union, roughly the same. Rias nodded. Almost. Shitori Sona was puzzled by this vague vocabulary. It's still in the investigation stage, Rias explained. But she didn't make it clear. It is not that she is examining Xia Lin, but Xia Lin is examining her. Shitori Sona didn't know the inside story, thinking that Rias was still investigating Xia Lin. Then congratulations, you found another good seedling. Shitori Sona picked up the application for admission and looked at it. Tsubaki, please help me register. Yes. Shinra Tsubaki nodded, then trouble the two of you. Rias said goodbye with a smile. It's really strange. Although the Occult Research Club is indeed under the jurisdiction of the student union, Rias is generally in charge of herself and does not need to report to the student union like other clubs. After Rias left, Shitori Sona was a little puzzled. She picked up the application for admission and glanced at it. The applicant's name was Xia Lin, a first-year freshman. A thought flashed in Shitori Sona's mind, but she didn't catch it after thinking about it for a while. She didn't understand the meaning of Rias' actions. Shitori Sona simply stopped thinking and focused her energy on the table. On the file.
Hello, everyone. As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500+ novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.